Please stay on the line, and we'll be back in a moment.
Thanks for holding. We appreciate your time and patience. Please stay on the line and we'll be back in just a moment.
Thank you for waiting. Your patience is appreciated. Please hold the line, and we'll be right back with you.
Thank you for holding. We look forward to talking with you soon. Please hold the line and we'll be right back with you.
Thanks for holding. We appreciate your time and patience. Please stay on the line, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Thank you for holding. We sincerely appreciate your patience. Please stay on the line and we'll be back in a moment.
Thank you for holding. We look forward to talking with you soon. Please hold the line, and we'll be right back with you.
Thank you for waiting. Your patience is appreciated. Please hold the line and we'll be right back with you.
Thank you for holding. We sincerely appreciate your patience. Please stay on the line, and we'll be back in a moment.
Thanks for holding. We appreciate your time and patience. Please stay on the line and we'll be back in just a moment.
Thank you for waiting. Your patience is appreciated. Please hold the line, and we'll be right back with you.
Thank you for holding. We look forward to talking with you soon. Please hold the line and we'll be right back with you.
Thanks for holding. We appreciate your time and patience. Please stay on the line, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Thank you for holding. We sincerely appreciate your patience. Please stay on the line and we'll be back in a moment.
Thank you for holding. We look forward to talking with you soon. Please hold the line, and we'll be right back with you.
you for waiting. Your patience is appreciated. Please hold the line and we'll be right back with you.
Thank you for holding. We sincerely appreciate your patience. Please stay on the line, and we'll be back in a moment. Thanks for holding. We appreciate your time and patience. Please stay on the line and we'll be back in just a moment. Thank you for waiting. Your patience is appreciated. Please hold the line, and we'll be right back with you.
Wherever you go, you can listen to the news. You can sleep with the blues on this wonderful, wonderful station. Just take a lively companion wherever you go. Take a portable radio. Take a portable radio.
Now, here comes the music.
Here comes the music and here comes the show on a Tuesday night. Coming at you straight out of Studio C in Central Phoenix, Arizona, where it's a chilly 92 degrees today.
It's like perfect today.
It's really beautiful. It really is. It's because it's so dry. But yeah, we're heading that way. Summer is rapidly approaching.
And to a lovely evening where the people are filling the streets. I rode over here and pedestrians everywhere.
Are they all out?
Did
That's
they
good.
wave to you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's just all sorts of like
cordial?
walking their dogs. And I was like, oh my God, it doesn't look like a Death Star between my house and your house.
Nice. No, it's a beautiful thing. This is Pride Week here in Phoenix for those of you who aren't local. So this coming weekend, it's a little bit busy for a lot of people because, well, it's Pride. Hi, everybody in the chat room. Jenny, Summer, Joe. Of course, Missy Al is in there. I haven't seen my mom yet, but she might be in there. I may have missed her. I don't know who else is in there, but they're all talking about who's a teacher, who's not.
The walkout there in Oklahoma.
Oh, that's right. They are in Oklahoma, right?
Yep.
Where the wind comes
guys.
sweeping down the plain.
How is everybody? I have missed you.
Well, I think, yeah, you've been gone 2 weeks, right? Well, I take that back. You had three
really,
because we were gone the 2,
Slacker.
and then last week.
No, just the one.
Yeah, dock her pay.
Now, last week I understand that your girlfriend who
Yes.
doesn't
Hi, Joe.
have a calendar or a schedule of some sort. She booked a doctor's appointment
sure did.
on the wrong side of this city.
How rude. I say. How rude.
Well,
Yes,
there are
she
those
did.
kind of doctors that are like, I can see you the 4th Tuesday from next
Yeah.
month.
Yeah, that's
Right.
true.
And
That's
it
true.
would have been quite a bit longer, but it was
Got it.
over in Ahwatukee.
Right. For
So,
yeah, that's about 20 miles, 22 miles from here, across the
The
valley.
toque, as they like to
The
call
toque.
it.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
two. Well, all white
All
Tukey
white Tukey.
All white
was what
Tukey.
it used to be. Yeah, on the other side.
Not
still
anymore.
is.
Not
Oh, really?
really.
No?
Well,
No. Which
Not
is
so
nice.
white?
But
Interesting.
no, it's
The actual Ahwatukee is a really tiny strip of land.
that's
Like,
true. It is.
the rest of that is just Phoenix.
yeah, that's very
Until you
true.
get to Chandler.
But yeah,
Valid.
so we went and did that, and I thought, how rude.
As
Yeah.
a girl who was
Plan
many
your-
years Ahwatukee adjacent, I am
Yes.
familiar.
Oh, I was too. I
And-
lived at 48th and Ray for a while.
I mean,
Yeah,
I lived on the
that's-
mountain.
Oh, no,
looking,
no.
Yeah, looking
Yeah.
right down on them. Those
Yeah.
motherfuckers.
Because that was
And
the smartest idea I ever had to move out
That
there.
whole doctor's office has now sold, like just all of it.
Oh,
Yeah.
gone?
So it's new everything.
What is
So
that, a
now
Dutch
we're-
Brothers
that's why I
coffee?
called you and said, or text you. I'm like, we need a doctor.
Oh, especially since
Yeah.
you started off with.
Hi, Mom.
Weren't you,
I see
weren't
you.
you seeing mine? Weren't you
She was seeing McCoy.
McCoy? Yeah.
But then when he left, she started seeing Ian.
and it's sad to think that my doctor retired.
Well, that happens as you progress.
Yeah.
Let's say, as one progresses, their
and ours
doctor.
left to teach. He just wanted to teach full time. So that's
Yeah. Yeah, the last time I saw him, I was like, uh-oh, he's kind of old.
cool. Right.
And then, however many years later, 8 years later, I'm like, oh, he's kind of retired.
Yeah.
Yeah, what doctor do you go to every
Like the
8
young,
years?
the young strapping guy. No, I had stopped. I had to stop seeing him. He wasn't part of. He was
part of your plan?
'cause he was considered a specialist. He was my general practitioner.
Got it.
But he worked at the Point South Mountain in university sports medicine. There, he was considered a sports doctor. But because he worked one level down from the restaurant I worked at, we all used him as our primary care,
Primary,
and he was
sure.
on our insurance. And I never understood that, why the insurance was so good with.
The 90s were crazy.
Yeah, the insurance was so good being a waiter at Hilton that this guy was my GP, and I mean, he got everything that was baffling everybody else. He was like, "Here's what this is."
Right.
So he was a great guy.
No.
It's still alive. He just
yeah.
retired, but
Yeah.
But yeah.
yeah,
so
when we
just
broke
did-
up, I had a shit.
Well, upset with that, yeah.
Then I went to Chester the molester for a while. Then
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, how handsy are you with everybody else? If you're
A lot, from what I understand from the court records.
Yeah.
We will
If
not.
you're
We
handsy
will
with
not.
me, how bad is it with the attractive
Yeah.
people that come in?
For real.
We will not mention the names that I know exactly who he's talking about. We'll just let that go. My God.
Ah,
Yeah, it's okay, you know me. I don't remember what his name was.
Oh. I'll write it down. You'll be like, oh yeah,
That's weird.
very much so.
I'm Marina.
Oh, of course,
Or
you know.
Margarine.
Margarine.
In an interesting
sure.
turn of events,
Yes.
I don't remember what his name was.
That's so odd.
I still, well, no, I'm going to forget it, but I remembered, it's odd that I remember my first, I believe it was, well, isn't a pediatrician is your first doctor? Like,
Dr.
I,
Thomas Coyne.
For
oh, no,
human children.
her
Typically,
name,
yes.
her name was Ruth Wilcox. Mom will confirm that. Well, actually, Mom probably doesn't remember either because Mom doesn't usually keep anything like that in memory. She just like, I don't care. But yeah, I remember Ruth Wilcox
Yeah.
was her name.
No. Dr.
Yeah.
Thomas Coyne. I totally remember Dr. Coyne. I wanted him to stay my doctor. Like
Right. Why? I don't
at
understand.
18, I was like, what?
It's
Where-
the lollipops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
The
all
suckers, yeah.
Because he's known you forever. Like, you feel safe. Like, I
Sure.
can tell you this. That's fine.
Sure.
But,
Almost like a family member.
yeah. And then you go to someone else.
Then you go to some cold room where they want to put
Right.
you in a
What do
little
you
backless robe and
And you have
turn
to
your
tell
head
them everything all over again.
Paper.
yeah.
Paper
Oh,
panties.
that drives me insane.
I know.
That whole having to retell the
Who are
story.
these for?
Who do these
And-
fit?
Yeah.
What is
Not
this
me.
about?
The target audience here.
Oh,
The
thanks,
best part
Danny.
is the team, whatever the doctor's office name was, I mispronounced it when I was a kid because it was kind of a tricky name. Realized I was saying it wrong at about 13.
Okay.
That finally I was like, wait, how do you say that? Oh.
My
And then at about 40 realized I was committing a hate crime as a child.
Oh, is it sort of like your La
La
Cienega
Cienega.
story?
Because that's one of the funniest fucking things
Yeah,
ever.
La
to say.
Cienega Street in LA.
Gone
Call
completely
it
wrong.
what you want.
I
He
think
did.
I did.
you better review that name,
Yeah,
sir.
right?
Yeah. Really? That was the best
Yeah.
look ever. Really?
Rethink that.
Maybe you should get back in your car and drive away, young lady.
I just know, like, when you were saying the rehashing everything and having to tell them
That really
stuff,
annoys me.
so annoying. But I have to be really mindful of that because with what I do, it's the same idea.
Right,
Oh,
yeah.
We have
right.
so many new families that come in that then they have to tell it because we have to get to know them. They have to retell their story, and the support coordinators that are with the state,
Yeah.
they change over seemingly every
Daily.
6 months.
Quarterly,
I mean,
honestly. It's
really
about
is.
quarterly.
Yep.
Sharon kind of loves it. I think she likes. I think she's kind of like me and likes the first date.
Sure.
Because we'll get a new support coordinator from the state, and they'll come over, for the quarterly or whatever. And she's having a great time making coffee, just
Yep.
chatting things up. I'm in the other room, rolling my eyes, going, "Can we get these fucking people out of here?"
Right.
We got shit to do.
Right.
Yep.
I got an empire to run here.
Yeah.
People. These people gotta go.
You are
You're
in
using my
nothing but in the
table.
way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't imagine having to go to a doctor and having. Well, I guess it depends on how much would be wrong with you, but there are some people who have notebooks and they just this is my history.
Yep.
I cannot imagine having to go through that, but
No.
knock wood. Hopefully, I'll never have to.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's the frustrating part where you're like, oh my God.
I just want it all on a jump drive. You walk in, plug it in, say, "Look."
It's a smart idea. That's a really smart idea.
But I'm sure that would probably fall under HIPAA violations
Of course.
because you'd have to have it encrypted and all this other crap. Because if you just had all your medical history on a jump drive and somebody
lost it
yeah,
or
I
whatever,
mean, granted,
right?
I guess if it's your own personal stuff and you lose it, it's
Not
the
a
doc-
crime.
the-
It's
right,
just dumb.
it's just
Right.
stupid, right?
Uh-huh.
Well,
Yeah, if a doctor accidentally gives it out, then we got a problem.
Yeah.
oh,
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, so we're trying to find someone near and dear to our locale so that we don't
Right.
have to drive all the way to Ahwatukee.
Yeah. It'd be different if it was like a one-time-a-year thing to go
Right.
see somebody who that was their specialty.
Yep.
But no, if it's somebody you're just going to run to every few months for something, no, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so lucky with my doctor's office. An embarrassing bike ride from my house.
Right.
Oh, it totally is.
Like
Same,
it's
yeah.
it's a drive of shame because it's 35 feet.
Sure.
And I use the
for you.
same I use the same doctor, like the physician's group.
Yep.
But I don't like that office.
Oh, 'cause it's
Location.
awful.
Yeah.
It's
From
all-
what
it's
you
horrible.
said, yeah.
But
So-
they always get you in.
So
Right,
I
right.
drive to their office in Scottsdale. That's
Okay.
palatial,
Right.
almost. It's lovely.
Okay.
Plus, I get to see a couple friends that work there. Rick Johns, that used to work at Winks, works over there, and several other people. So I do get to see them
Yeah.
from here and there. By the way,
my,
this
my
is
life has to occur within one
Right,
city
right,
block.
that's true for
this
you,
is
yeah.
show 339. It's April 3rd, 2018. It would be our first show of the second quarter of the year. For those of you who go with those kind of calendars, it's our pre-Pride show. It is our post-Easter show. It's very busy. This show's got a lot to going on. I don't know. So we'll.
It's a big title holder all of a sudden.
So we're going to defer. Well, I got to get them all in as much as I can. I guess we'll defer to Kat and find out what you've been doing, and if you care to explain the shirt, which I think is very cute.
T-shirts. Yeah, so I'll send Clayton some pictures here for the viewers. I am literally buried under T-shirt work right now. Like just today, because clearly Pride's this weekend. So I've
Yes.
had just 3 orders come in just today that are like, hey, want to get these done. Can you quote it out? And I think I'm going to be able to crank them all out by Friday.
That will be the rest of your life.
I love it.
I'm just telling you right now. That's what it's going to be.
No shame in that. Yeah.
No, but I'm just for the rest of your life. If this is where you're going, it's going to be.
Bring it.
Can you give me
on,
a shirt by
people.
6:15? What time is it? 5:45.
Right. Well, and I
Do you
have,
need it iron?
I have no problems telling people if it's possible and if it's not. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like this is my timeline, and I told a couple of people, I'm like, you have to get me information by 10 p.m. today, or it's not happening at all.
Right.
The beauty
That
of that
ends.
is they can literally email you the file of the image.
The artwork,
correct?
sure.
So that you don't have to go anywhere. It all just happens, and then you can pick it up.
It all just happens, and
That's lovely.
yeah.
So the shirt, which I think is
So-
cute.
We finally are able to announce that Cobalt has signed a new lease in Park Central Mall, and we are moving.
Okay.
We're going to get a brand new bar. We're going to get a whole new build and a different suite.
Oh, nice.
But we do get to stay in Park Central. There's been a lot of rumors that go around, and I don't. Seriously, if you ever hear a rumor about a bar closing, don't believe it.
Right.
Literally.
Because it only happens with no notice when you walk there and the doors are
right.
closed.
You show up and there's a padlock on the door, and that's when that
Yeah.
bar is closing.
Yeah, otherwise, it's a celebration of a month long. Let's have our last drink.
Yeah.
You know, whatever. Yeah, it
and
happens.
I'm super not looking forward to
Oh,
that last month.
Well, that's coming.
The fuck it, we're closing. Oh,
Yeah.
good God.
Drink everything because we don't want to move it.
Senioritis, yeah.
But yeah, so that news happened. So first thing this morning, when I didn't think I'd have all this other work to do, I sat down and started kind of working on t-shirt design. So my shirt's the Cobalt logo with a little moving truck, and it says Summer 2018.
Very cute.
So there'll be that.
Very cute.
Yeah, so if you would, can you send me an image of that logo so I can show everybody what? Because it's like a flatbed moving truck or a tow truck with the Cobalt logo
I
on
got
it.
a picture of the t-shirt.
And that
I'll
I'm
send
just
you some
explaining
stuff.
for those viewers who are doing the non-visual portion of our
Right,
show.
because we are allegedly still a podcast.
We are simulcasting.
So here's what I made today. I made this one, and then I made that one, and then I made this one.
I gotta get logged in. So, how are you sending it to me?
The Facebooks.
Got it. Books of the face.
Would you like them elsewise?
No, that's
Oh, perfect.
that works perfection.
The books o' the face.
Yes, that works very well for me.
And I've got one more that I haven't made yet,
Oh, here's it.
but we're getting there. So, yeah, very very busy
Oh,
in the
this
fashion
is
empire.
I like it.
Things are going well. We just got to survive the Pride weekend and get some of these jobs done, and I think we're gonna upgrade and be able to do multiple colors.
Wow.
I know.
Oh no!
That'll get crazy.
It is time.
Wow. Two color screen
No,
printing.
we're gonna get 4 colors.
Oh,
we're
wow.
going
Come
straight
on.
to we're going
Come on.
straight to 4.
Is Ruben Gonzalez
need to
part of
have
this
that. Yeah, it has to be
operation?
that whole
He,
Heather
he's
thing.
already got all that shit together.
Oh, does he?
Oh yeah, well at their shop they do. I know.
Oh yeah.
Oh, look at you! I like.
No,
how you-
I'm my own shop.
She's your own, right? But I know if maybe you were getting advice from or direction from someone who already was doing it.
No, I'm a trial and error kind of a girl. You can tell me
Fair point.
amazing things and how to do things 1,000 times, and it'll sit in my brain somewhere somehow. But until I actually do it,
Yeah. See, I just think this is cute. This is cute. This is the logo she has on her shirt. Kat has on her shirt right now, of the flatbed
That
truck.
is not Cat.
No, that is not.
No,
in that
that's-
picture.
No.
I just
With
want
the lightly jaundiced arms.
wanted
yeah.
to point
Oh
that
no!
out.
Oh, by all means,
Yeah.
it's not Kat.
That's not Cat.
No. And to further prove that point, there's the mannequin without a head on it.
Yeah,
So
see,
no,
right
this
there,
is
yep.
just
The
the.
unfortunate incident.
and I
Yeah.
gotta tell you, the mannequins are freaking my family out, and I kind of like it. So I've named them.
Oh.
Okay, very
Right.
nice. Sure.
And then the other
Like
one.
you do.
Yeah, like you do. Like this one, he only has one position for his arms, and it's like both hands behind his back. So I've called him the felon.
Oh, very nice.
Oh, that's
Very
cute.
nice.
I like that.
There's a really ugly female bust with like a face that I think is more intended for wigs than for clothing.
Okay.
But she is ugly, and she's been painted badly by some drag queens. So we just called her Stella.
You're so
Oh, Stella. I thought you were going to
Stella.
call her Butter. Butterface.
Ought to have, yeah.
Yeah.
Ought to have.
And then this shirt, this is a local queen who's running for Empress of one of the pageants. I can't keep track of all of it. But that's Tyra Marie. And it's, is that hashtag Lola at the bottom?
Yeah,
Yeah. Got it. Well, that's cute.
I thought so.
Very
A lot of
nifty.
fun.
Nice.
Very
Yeah, really, that's a really good one. I like that.
So that's what I did today instead of preparing for the show.
I like it.
I was a little disappointed, I will tell you. When we
Priority.
talked earlier in the week, you said, or no, was it yesterday?
Yesterday.
Yesterday, well, which technically was earlier in the week, about joining you for the production meeting today, and I thought maybe that just happened, and then when I called you because I said I would let you know when I was done with my
I know.
haircut, And you're like, oh, I forgot to call people and I got busy. And I'm like, well, damn it.
You know, I'm so disappointed that I did not call the
It's all
production
right.
meeting.
I'll get over it. I got a lot of shit going on that.
There will be more, I'm sure.
Oh heavens, yes. But I did that flavor because I had built my head up for that sushi flavor. I was like, oh, I was
so
ready for
sorry.
that, and then whatever. It's all right.
What happened?
So I messaged him yesterday.
Would you like me to start over at the
I
show?
was reading the
No.
thing. No. I
It's
just
okay.
was.
Yeah, no, I messaged him last night and said, you know, are you available for production meetings now?
Oh, I got you.
But then did not follow up and did not invite you and did not,
Right.
you know.
So, but I just thought it was
Invite-
happening just
right.
anyway. That I found out today, sadly.
Literally nothing happened, and I got bogged down in work at home. And
Yeah, and I was at work late this morning and came home and took a much needed shower and slept till you see me
Just
right
this
now.
moment,
Just
right.
this moment. Yeah.
Well, don't forget, there's fresh brewed coffee in the kitchen if you should need it to add to your wine.
I'm trying to decide how I want to play this. You know what I mean? Like how I want a Judy Garland, how I want this to go on the spectrum.
I see, I like that.
yeah, I gotta say, I've fallen off of the Mountain Dew wagon for the week again this year. Yeah,
That's all right.
apparently it's my annual consumption of hydrogenated vegetable oil and other assorted flavors.
In electric urine color.
Right.
Because
So-
there's just something magic about the Mountain Dew, and it's just gonna get you through. So
Yeah.
Just
it's
push.
gonna be the major food groups for the next 4 or 5 days. It's gonna be the Mountain Dew. I picked up what did I pick up? I picked up some gummy worms and the lesser known Sour Bright gummy sloths.
Sure.
Right.
Wait, they're sour?
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're
Oh,
so
yeah,
good.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
please, please,
Oh,
may
please do,
I?
by all
I
means.
do enjoy a sour treat.
I love
There's
sour candy. And then clearly we needed more ranch flavored corn nuts.
course.
well, we were out. All we had was regular.
I know.
Regular barbecue.
Well, Al was excited when he got here to find out that there were peanut butter pretzels here or something.
Wait, peanut butter pretzels?
You took the
Yeah.
bag out of here. You took it
Where
in
are-
the kitchen.
Oh, they must be in the
Oh
kitchen.
my gosh, they've escaped. They've
He,
escaped.
he got excited, took the bag, and walked that way with it. And I was like, okay, well, he was excited
Well,
to
I
take
got
it.
home from work today, and I really did not feel like putting a lot of effort into how food was going in the pie hole.
Sure.
So I was like, I know I bought peanut butter pretzels real recently, and that would make a delicious breakfast with a big glass of milk and then pass
They're
out.
so cute.
That does sound lovely.
Did not happen because they were here, not there.
Oh,
Yeah.
They'd already been transported. But I was kind of trash when I got here, so I didn't remember what I had packed in my purse.
Last week, yeah, last
oh,
week.
sure, kind of.
I arrived a
Kind
little on
of.
the drunkard side.
Fair point.
Marina, what you been up to?
Not a bunch.
Yeah.
Not a bunch. Just working and going to doctor's appointments and
Well, no, wait a minute. Was it just the one, dear? just
Yes,
the one?
just the
or
one.
Are
Just the one,
multiple
dear.
people now, for some reason, going to doctor's appointments?
just the one, dear.
Got it.
No, we did that, and it was Ernie's birthday on the 29th, and so we.
I honest to God
mazel
had to
tov.
stop and think about who that was for a second. Gotcha.
Oh, Ernie,
Right. Okay.
Oh,
my Ernie.
Right.
I forgot.
Yeah, my Ernie. So it
Was
was
that
her
the whole?
birthday, and so we.
Was that the drinking thing you did on
Yeah.
Friday? Okay.
she did.
Okay.
That was fun. I may or may not have pulled an ass muscle trying to keep her on her feet, dragging her into the house.
Oh.
She got
It was that kind of party.
knocked. Oh yeah.
Wow.
Well.
Wine and the sun and the whole thing. and
Good
it
on
was
her.
Really fucking funny as far. I mean, it
Oh,
was
as
really
long as you
great.
enjoyed it, that's really all
Oh
that
my God,
matters.
It was.
She's there to
terrific.
entertain you.
Well, that's what I thought. So that was fun, and we went to something that was awful, just awful. We saw a show. I was so bored. There was that whole American in Paris. Remember when I told you about the American in Paris? And I
Oh,
just
right,
thought
right,
it was
right.
fucking awful.
Yeah.
Just awful.
Yeah.
Bored.
And then I
senseless.
went and saw it later that week and spent the whole time kind of joking in my head. Oh, the dancing! Why is there so much dancing?
Oh my god! And the balleting.
I
and
love
what-
Yeah.
balleting.
Ugh.
So good.
Balleting. Is that the technical
Balleting.
term? Balleting.
I'm calling it that.
Okay.
But then, oh for Christ's sake, we went
What's
to the
the
King and
scene?
I.
Oh.
Oh,
You
fuck.
weren't here last
Yeah,
week.
you missed last
Shoot
week's
me.
show. If had you been listening, you would have understood to have avoided that.
Hey, but it was
don't have-
before. It was before.
Oh.
I couldn't have avoided it.
Oh.
It was awful, etc., etc.,
That's my favorite part.
That's funny.
That's
It was funny the first 2 times, and then it became like enough.
well, that's what makes it
So,
funny.
not really. Not really.
Not to her.
My entire humor portfolio is based on overusing the funny thing.
Oh, it was terrifying. So
You have
anyway,
a
we did
humor
that, and I don't ever
portfolio?
need to do that again.
Wow.
And I'll say it one more
great.
time for the cheap seats. It makes a wonderful concert. There is no need to
Okay.
really stage that, except for I thought this production that you just saw was beautifully done. I thought it was beautifully staged. But I went to the bathroom. I don't go to the bathroom. Like, I will almost pee my pants before
Right,
I'll like,
right.
get up in the middle of a live theater production.
Sure.
But I got up because when those kids sing this, when the kids do this song, the two boys sing the song, I'm like, I'm gonna go
Mm-hmm. have to
pee
go
now.
now.
I don't need
Yeah,
to. I don't
yeah.
need.
I thought the staging was beautiful. I just I was like, oh my god. The whole first act I thought was good, and then after that I didn't understand why they had
Kept
the
going.
rest. And yeah, I didn't understand the rest of it, and then all of a sudden it just ended, and I'm like, well, where did those two people that loved each other go? Like where it just
Away.
stopped. But bye.
The one
Yeah.
died.
Well, yeah,
They
but
killed
it was,
the one
it
and
was
they
kinda
almost
like,
beat the other.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it really was poorly done. I mean, that whole thing was.
So
just-
I think
I mean, it's
my-
a year later. So
right.
Did you go? Did you see it?
I saw it, and my comments last week were that I think it's outdated and just needs to go away. You know what I mean? I don't think it's not.
it's
How many negatives?
antiquated.
I don't think it's a terrible show.
Sure.
I just think that
It needs to take a rest.
the storyline, and this was my comment last week, the storyline of the extremely capable, articulate woman having
Yeah.
to cajole and convince the inept man
Right.
that she's good enough. I'm over it, and I
Oh.
can't. I
Yeah.
literally cannot
Watching
anymore.
Abby's face, the feminist in the crowd, like you
Yeah.
just saw her. And
Oh, sure.
I was just chuckling through that whole part because
Yeah.
I thought that was great. You know, only because of her reaction.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Being so incensed by that whole
It's like
thing.
watching theater with Gloria Steinem. Is that what you were doing?
It was awesome.
Live theater with Gloria Steinem.
She wasn't sure where to go with it. She was like so
Yeah.
upset about it, and I was like, "Oh, for God's sake!" Yeah, but I didn't have to pay for it, Harrison. So thank Jesus.
But yeah, I
mean,
think I've had just enough of that particular.
Storyline.
yeah,
Right.
right.
I mean, so can you imagine when you used to see it without Asians in it?
right. Oh, that's what we were talking about. I was like,
Yeah,
I
when you
feel
had
like
when you had like horrible
tape back.
yeah,
you
just
know.
some horrible things went
Sure.
on.
I can safely say that I have never seen it.
And safely, I will tell you.
But some of the
don't.
most beautiful, seriously, some of the most beautiful music that has ever
Oh,
been written.
I enjoyed some of the
Yeah.
songs. I just
Yeah.
never had
Yeah.
the torment of suffering through the whole show. Just like I've never seen Sound of Music. I know several of the songs. I just have
Don't
never
see
seen
the
it.
stage version, but the movie is
movie
perfection.
is,
The
yeah.
movie it's a long movie that whizzes by.
Although I have
Mm-hmm.
to say, I almost never have seen the end.
Oh,
Right.
Because it's a long movie.
Well, because
Yeah.
it's a long movie, so it used to be back when VHS was a thing on 2 tapes.
oh,
And
that's
I
right. That's right.
literally, I never make it to the second tape because I'm already nodding off by the end of the first one because
Right.
I sleep
Sure.
for TV. So
Yeah.
Yep.
And there's no getting around. The Sound of Music is long.
right.
Yeah,
That's
that was
funny.
on the list of shows that I thought I would skip last year, and then it was so much fun going to LA that I'm like, all right, we'll go.
sure.
And it was a Lincoln Center production, so lovely, but there's still those parts. And,
And
oh
again,
god,
if they only did the first part and you went in knowing like this is this misogynistic.
Oh, I went in
whatever.
knowing, but I
no,
just
no,
remember.
I mean,
yeah.
for just the masses.
Yeah.
Kind
Oh,
of
sure.
and then the whole first act would have been fine, because it was beautiful and there was all. Jeez.
yeah,
Too much.
it's one of the war horses. They're
yeah.
yeah.
they're the war horses are not easy. The one that does hold up is South Pacific. That
Aaron can't stand that one. Ernie, excuse me.
Oh,
whatever.
my
but,
apologies.
Yeah, yeah, but she cannot handle that one.
Really?
And having worked at Gamage, that was her thing. She worked at Gamage for years,
oh.
like almost 10 years, I think.
Because Lincoln
And-
Center got a hold of that one a couple years ago, and they broadcast on PBS, and it is sumptuous. And
Yeah.
another one
I have
that's
to go find it.
yeah,
Yes, could
it's
not handle
Kelly
it.
O'Hara, and she's spectacular. And the
Love Kelly
problem is
O'Hara.
Glee got popular,
Mm.
so Matthew Morrison had left South Pacific to be in Glee, so they went with his understudy. They don't. It should be Lieutenant Cable should be Matthew Morrison. But
Okay.
he had filmed the pilot of Glee, and it became a
and
hit.
It got hit,
So
right.
he couldn't go back and do it. But again, another one. It's beautiful. It's beautiful music, but that one, the story behind it isn't
Did I send that to you?
Send it to me.
too bad.
Yeah, that's what that. Yeah, well, it just never needs to happen again.
Yeah.
Terrifying.
I mean, but it's funny that in the year 2018, a show from the 40s has finally caught your attention to not like.
And at all. Well, because I'm new to this whole
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of theatery thing, and in the last couple of years, And Aaron's mom was in The King and I, was like stage kind of stuff, and her whole family, her grandpa and a couple of her aunts were very involved with theater. So that's where it was.
And if
You
you,
know,
do
kind
any,
of a thing
Right.
for her mom wanting to really see it.
if you
and that's
ever
why
do
she wanted to
community
bring
theater,
us.
it's one of the biggest money makers there is because you get to put every child in the world in it
And all their
for that
parents will
March of
come.
the Siamese Children, and then all the parents
All
and
their parents have
grandparents
to
come
come,
see it.
Of course. Yeah,
And it's a
that
show
makes
that
sense.
it's a war horse. Everyone knows that show, and they feel safe and they feel comfortable.
Yeah.
It's got a little misogyny. It's got a little racism. Everybody's happy.
My
Everyone's a little bit racist.
right. My season ticket neighbor, her name's Susan. We chat every day, every week or month or whenever we go see shows. How often is
Yeah.
that? I don't know.
Occasionally.
In any event, she went to an all-girls high school, and she said, "Oh yeah, I was in The King and I was the king."
Okay.
There you go.
There you go.
She played the
I
king.
love it. Taped back.
It was the king
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think just
down.
taped back
Taped
here.
down?
Taped down.
Or taped back. Because that's
Well, your
the-
breasts don't look Asian.
I do
How would
remember
that be?
Your
when-
breasts
Yeah,
are big.
but
How do you, how do
I'm
you do
going to
that?
king
hell.
probably
I'm
doesn't
going
have
to
so
hell.
many.
God,
when
Not
we did
so
the
many.
King and I in high school, it was trying. I remember like conversation. This was a time when, anything was anything was on. Like
Right.
there was nothing that was going to be offensive. So, but I remember our whatever he's called, your student advisor, your faculty advisor, just being like, let's not do that part.
Okay.
And like let's not do a bald cap for the lead guy. Like he's got short enough hair. Let's just go with that, and let's all just pretend. Because I remember like someone like trying out Asian makeup and just
Oh, no.
just
Oh.
Like Jerry Lewis
The
and
not great
bad.
results.
right. But
Oh,
this
right.
was the '80s, so like
Right.
no one was really truly offended by Mickey Rooney in Breakfast at Tiffany's
Right.
yet. Like everyone thought, really. But you weren't like, oh my God, who? You know what I mean? Like we hadn't turned that corner into, okay, that's like blackface. You should stop
Right.
with that now. The Asians were still on the market then. But
Well, they're not listeners now.
we
I
drove
mean-
them away years ago.
Jesus, I think the first show accidentally.
Maybe.
Well, let's apologize.
Yeah.
Fatty. No?
Well.
That didn't make it better.
Door open, door
Ah,
closes.
Well, something.
So the mine was just work, and a lovely evening at the Cobalt.
The
But
Cobalt.
unfortunately, the allergy / everything
No.
had me down last week. So at about 10 o'clock, I had to call that a night.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm a couple drinks in. Everyone around me is smoking. My breathing is stopping. I'm just going home.
Sure.
But it was lovely to be there and be on the patio for a lovely night and saw some friends and stuff. But Phoenix and the smoking, I swear it's the only city left where like every motherfucker smokes.
See, that's
Less
weird.
and
I
less
have
it
so
seems
noticed.
still though.
Huh?
Less and less.
Yeah. I have just noticed so many people don't. Like, it's the opposite for me. Where
And ran into people I knew, and they were also. I'm like, I please don't, like, please find somewhere else to sit. Like, you can't sit here and smoke.
Yeah.
I'm barely keeping this asthma under control. Like,
Well, it sounds like you've turned a corner now because you sound good, like open and I'm
yeah,
no
I mean,
coughing.
eventually I'm going to redo the last couple scenes from Moulin Rouge, but
Okay.
but it's not bad at all. Not because there wasn't the fucking rain.
Carlton called me yesterday and he's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" I'm like, "What in the hell is wrong with you? Like, you sound like B. Arthur." And he goes, just coughing or whatever. I'm fine. And it's between him and all the goddamn smoking he does. But he has cut back.
Yeah.
He's cut back to like 4 and 5 a day as opposed to packs a day.
Wow.
A pack. So he's trying really hard
Baby
to
steps.
yeah.
get that knocked
There
out.
you
Well,
go.
good for him. I cannot even imagine how difficult you've done it. You
9 years
yeah.
yesterday.
Wow.
9 years.
got it. And Mom, I know we talked about this. We talked about it the other day. I don't recall how many years it's been that you've been smoke
very
free.
proud of you.
Because my
That's
mom is that person who just
Big deal.
she decided one day she was done and she just
Yeah, and your mom is so good like that.
Yeah.
Like, just, meh,
Yeah.
done. And,
I don't
had-
recall how many years it's been.
I quit for like 3 years in the 90s and then graduated from college. And Dale
Yeah.
Spies,
Right, Del Spies.
showed up at my graduation, of course. And my grandpa and grandma came down from Minnesota, as did the rest of my family. And it was fantastic. It was lovely. And then we had the party in my backyard, and
The cigarettes.
I had not had a cigarette in 3 years. I had had stressful times. I had, whatever, didn't matter. All of a sudden, I see Dale Spees run out in a Speedo and run over to my grandpa and sit down, and he's like, Emil, how are you? Tell me about you. And I went, give me a cigarette. Give me a cigarette. I mean, I have no idea. I looked at my cousin. I said, if you don't give me a cigarette, I'm going to kill you. He's like, but you quit. Well, I don't give a shit.
I'm starting back up.
I'm back. Yeah, I'm back.
I'm back.
I'm back.
with full force.
Unfiltered, I'm back.
I know. Just give me one. But it was just stupid. And then I'll only smoke when I drink. I think I'll drink more.
See, that it never works out quite like you want.
Never. So, oh my God.
I love when I hear I only smoke when I drink with people that I only drink with.
Right.
So I don't see those non-smoking
Right.
times.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So what big news do you have to share, Clayton McKee?
Yeah.
Not much. I'm trying to find a video right now from Marnie that
Sorry. Did
that
that
one
come up or not?
that won't load. But I found. Would you look on YouTube
Yeah.
right quick and see if you can find the same one or one that'll work?
Sure.
Because if you type in that name, Connemara Festival, you'll find it. But
Okay.
for some reason this one won't expand and show full screen, so I
Got
can't
it.
use it.
Okay.
A couple things. That's from my obsession. So hang on, we'll go back. We'll get back to that in a minute. Big change for me is that I currently, as I sit here right now, I am unemployed.
Ah. Congrats, sir.
It is. I did the thing online. You can find anything. How many days between this date and that date, or how much time has lapsed, and blah blah blah. So it was 8 years, 8 months, 7 days, which is technically the longest I have ever been employed by one company for my entire life.
Okay.
So I'm one of those people that, and I know there's, especially in this younger age, which I'm finding out from the younger ones more and more, because used to be you went to work for a company. Well, like your father would be, I think, a prime example of that. He worked for Nabisco, and he worked for Nabisco for how long?
40 some years.
Okay, and then he gets a gold watch, you retire, and you move on with the rest of your life. Well, the world's not like that anymore. But I'm one of those people because I don't really like change. I like improvements.
Sure.
But I'm not a huge change person for some reason. And that's odd to be in the IT business and not be that. Because I love it when some new thing comes out and it makes things faster, quicker, whatever. But I'm the person who I just like to know my routine, do this, do that, go
Where
home.
am I going?
Right.
What
I
am I
know I like
doing?
to have all that. So now I have no fucking idea where I'm going, what I'm doing. But it was interesting that once it was made public last night when all the emails were done going back and forth and all that. It was very nice to see the outpouring of everybody in my network on the Facebooks or the Book of Faces, however you do it. And then you go through and everybody is outpouring. Oh my God, I know a friend here. You want to do this? Do you want to do that? So like, there's all these options, and I haven't decided what I want to do with regards to do I want to stay in IT? Because there are several good opportunities with a couple good companies in the valley here, some cable companies that do that and internet. Aside from Cox, there's another big company that's based here that doesn't service here. And then a bunch of people, including Kevin Dasso, I was texting back and forth with today. Jojo, Kevin Dasso, another friend, all about Costco.
Yep.
And it's like the benefits are
I hear
fantastic.
they're great to work for, yeah.
I hear the benefits are great, and the fact you get every major holiday off.
I have a friend that just retired from there, too.
So that's really been, and I thought about that because I keep thinking I want to move more, and I don't mean move from city to city, but get up and go do something. You move constantly. Your job, and well, actually, you all do. You're a bartender and an empire of shirt makers.
It's true.
So you don't stand still. So you're all moving.
I'm sitting a lot more. I just got a standing desk. I'm kind of very excited
did
about
you?
that. Yes.
Cool.
I'm very excited
Oh,
about
I'm
that.
eyeing one up on offer
And
up right now.
I have one of those cute little, like, the boards that you get on that they are selling.
Yes.
That you do one of these. I
Yeah.
got one of those.
Oh,
and-
I'd pay money
it's awesome.
to see you
I
do
love
that.
it.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Well, somebody's gonna have to film this because
Yeah,
I need to see
no,
it.
I do. I love it.
So anywho, so it's the figure out what I'm gonna do from here on, and I'm still a couple weeks of ramp down with current clients, and this is, like I said, this is Pride weekend, so everybody's just on peak right now with everybody. Every single thing has to work perfectly for all the clients because they just make crazy money on Pride weekends.
Right.
Just like, well, it's like New Year's Eve and whatnot, but yeah,
Halloween
and they
yeah.
all, and because bars want to make money. They do what they call extensions, where we're just gonna take this parking lot and we're going to make that be the bar, so we can fit additional 400 people in this place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And make crazy money. So then they run extra wiring and extra terminals and do all that happy stuff. So I've got my list made out of what I have to take care of for the next deal. And then that big back room, well, most of that stuff leaves.
Okay, sure.
And then I bring furniture that's been in storage. So that room gets to become a little bit more of a usable space again.
Good.
So so there's all that. Interesting stuff. I actually debated.
I'm excited for you.
I debated for a minute, not just in the past 24 hours, but I debated in the past about moving this out to that room because it's just a big room and we've got the windows. Like I've thought about moving the studio out there, but I don't want to go through moving this again.
Right.
This is a lot to deal with.
You've got nothing but time on your hands,
No,
though.
no, I'm hoping to be very busy soon. I'm hoping to be very busy soon with I guess that laptop now has a screensaver I didn't know about because it just popped up.
That's lovely. It spun right in.
Screen saved.
Yeah, thank you. Tragedy avoided, world saved. There's that. So anyway, so that's my big news with that. It's interesting. It's a freedom. I actually told the first client that called me today. Other clients had called me, but this one client is an interesting client that none of us like to deal with. And I was able to say, oh, by the way, I no longer work for that company, and going forward, here's who you'll need to call.
Please delete my number.
Yeah, please.
Oh, and that's another
Don't
thing
call
that's
me.
exciting because now I'll be able to take. I've told you before. I've told you either off air or on. I set ring sounds. Everybody's got a specific ring. If it's a business client, that's one ring, so that I know that I need to get off my ass and go answer the phone if it's not beside me. Certain friends have certain text tones. My mother has a certain ring. Blah blah blah. Oh, I get to get rid of all those because I feel like Pavlov's dog. Every time that every time the bell rings, I expect a treat or something. So it's nice I'll be able to get rid of that.
Absolutely.
But I'll have the joy, and what I'm looking forward to is you're not exactly there with this because you're the type of person you've consumed that bar, and even when you leave, yes, you're not there, but you're still thinking about stuff that's going on there, and you're prepping for stuff, and you're doing things.
Oh yeah, I'm a company man. Listen, it doesn't matter what the company is. I'm a company man, and I drink the Kool-Aid 100%.
But
that's 100% true.
I'm looking forward to being able to
agree.
walk in, do whatever I am going to do, and then walk out and know that when I walk out, similar to what you do.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
unless they call you to come in for something
you have
special.
there's stuff you have to leave at the door. Like
Right.
this.
I'm looking forward to that. I'm also looking forward to being able to, if I walk away from this phone and somebody calls me,
Yep.
not the worst thing in the world. It's all right.
Exactly.
I can go to dinner with my mom or some friend or go to a movie, and it doesn't matter if the phone rings. I just can
Yeah,
leave
well,
it.
that
is exciting.
24-hour on-call business is bananas, and that is going to be very freeing, I think, for you to get rid of.
But again, I love the fact that it's all amicable, all good. Everybody's moving on and happy and all that happy stuff. And like I had said, the person that I worked with for almost 9 years, we've been friends longer. So it's like over 10 years of a friendship. And I said that when all is said and done, when all of the dust settles, that as long as that friendship is still standing, then we're good.
Right.
Absolutely.
And there's that time when it's time to move on.
Right. And I have felt that for some time, and I know that they realized it as well.
Right.
But I still kept thinking, okay, we can make this horse run. We can still do this.
Right.
And
But you get out while everyone's still alive.
Yeah,
before
exactly.
Before anybody goes postal.
And before anything gets bad. And
Yeah.
there's no
Yeah.
It's kind of
reason.
fun to burn the house down on your way out, but it's not
Yeah,
very
no.
productive.
No.
No.
And I also
Especially when you're working for a friend's
Right.
company. Yeah.
well, and then the other thing is I still can't and won't do that because of my connection within the community of this city. I'm still not going to do that because I have too many people, too many friends and connections.
Trust me, you'd survive.
Oh, who knows?
So, and then Harrison has big news
Oh my God, Harrison!
that
Yeah.
she's ready to share. She has put her payment down on her own practice and will start
Shut
her
up!
very own office.
Congratulations.
Yes, the first week of June, hopefully, somewhere near her birthday.
Oh, right.
Did you get an
right?
office space at a Miata dealership somewhere? I don't understand.
That's fantastic. Either
Where?
way.
In Pasadena.
In Pasadena.
Very near to her old office. space for her and another clinician of some sort, and
Oh, no.
be it a massage therapist or another.
Aside from that,
exciting.
Harrison, I have actually a new connection with
That's
Pasadena that
exciting.
I just learned of. And she probably knows of it. There's a restaurant out there that my friend Ricardo, his family is from there. And he went out there, and when he just came back a few weeks ago, brought me a salsa to try from this restaurant, which I can't remember the name of it right now. But my goal is to, if I get to Palm Springs, we're just going to drive into Pasadena to get this goddamn.
Because it's just 3 more hours.
Why not? It's
Yeah.
right
Why
there.
not?
But no, it was great. But no, congratulations, Harrison. That's great.
That's
Yes.
What's the
fantastic.
timeline? What are we looking at for
first
June?
week of June? Yeah, the
Wow.
space secured, and she's
Mm.
drained the funds.
Right,
That's
literally, yes,
wonderful.
everything.
Harrison, do
So-
you need
Well,
T-shirts?
well, if you need a
Yeah, see?
if you need a vacuum or
There you
t-shirts,
go, right?
either way. Actually, no, she's got vacuums. I sent those.
So yeah,
with-
no more working under someone else's roof. You know what I mean? She gets to hire her own staff and
Wow.
She's an entrepreneur. I
now,
like it.
does
I
this
love
does
it.
this also mean?
lady boss.
The
Yes.
businesswoman.
Right. Does this also mean? Does she have to live in the space too? Does she have to sacrifice her
Well,
Quonset
we're,
hut?
We're gonna see. Now she should do very well. She's she's working up a client
That's
base in the
exciting.
area for years. She's been there for
Sure.
I forget how many years it's been.
6 years, 7 years.
Because time passes so fast. I forget how long it's been she's been doing this.
And
Me
June
too.
8th is your birthday, isn't it, Harrison? Isn't June 8th her birthday?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
So that's exciting.
Oh, she's doing the grand opening on her birthday. I
On
see
her
that. I read that in the
birthday.
chat room now.
That's
That's
fantastic.
nice.
Yeah.
Very. Oh, and do we have a name? Do we know? Are you calling it something?
Oh, I didn't think to ask that. What a good question.
Well, Harrison, if
He's
you
quite the
if you
quite
don't want
the
to,
reporter
and
over
Harrison,
there.
if you don't want to post it in the chat room, just text it to Al because I just would be curious to know what you're calling your practice, other than just.
I don't think you keep the name of your business a secret.
Well, no, but I know if she's ready
Not
to release
usually.
that.
Yeah, right.
She might
that's
be
true.
ready to release
That's
it right
true.
now. Because some bastard will take the website, like maybe me, and then
Yeah, there you go.
I can buy the .com.
I love it.
Yeah, and in my mind, she graduated in 11, but I can't keep track of.
Well, she'll let us. 7 years. Look at her. 7
okay,
years.
yeah,
Okay.
I can't keep track of
Yeah, so it was 11.
how
Yeah.
long things have been.
The way
now.
I do math, I think that's 11.
Yeah.
2011. Carry
So-
the 1.
That's fantastic. Oh,
Get those shirts
very
early,
good.
Amina. Get those shirts early.
get those orders in.
Oh, and she
Oh,
look.
darling,
I do
darling
need shirts.
chiropractic. Yeah, darling chiropractic.
Oh,
chiropractic.
that's cute.
I think that's better than Harry Back.
wow.
Well, that accelerated quickly.
Oh, I see. Oh, my bad.
Oh, I didn't know that was an option, but
Well,
sure.
You
Was
don't
that
know.
supposed to be
You
a
don't know.
pun on hurry back?
No.
Or were you
Har-
really doing Harrison?
Harrison.
Okay, I wasn't sure where you were
Oh.
going with that.
I wasn't either. I
There was a
like,
lot of
wow.
there were a lot of
Harrison.
uncomfortable.
Chiropractor. Crack my back.
Yeah.
Harrison. Harry Back.
I think
That-
darling chiropractic is cute.
I think it's darling.
I will, and I think your uniform should be a baby doll dress at all times. You should just come out.
Nice.
I think that'd be cute.
I love that name. That is cute.
Darling chiropractic.
I like it.
Because of her the 25,000 year name challenge.
right.
Oh, and I like how she just
Obvi.
puts up there obvi, like
Yeah.
like fuck you people.
Duh.
Oh, because you don't know that she goes by she has to give herself a last name. So she
Oh
made
no,
it,
no, I know.
Oh, okay, then she
Oh.
made it
gave it
darling.
some-
No, she's in my phone. She's Harrison Darling,
Oh, okay.
That's fantastic.
but also a darling Harrison.
yes,
You are
that is correct.
all of our dollars
That's
to
fantastic.
you.
I gave it some thought.
I love that her and Renee with the made up names.
You're right.
You know what I mean?
Sure. What's hers? Which Renee's?
Well, Renee, the guy at the DMV was finally like, just walk over there and pick 2 motherfucking names and come back here. If you want to be a person, you have to pick a first and a middle name and then get out of this office. So I love that I have 2 friends that have
funny.
like
Completely
completely
made
fucked
up
up,
names.
made up names.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic.
If you want to have a driver's license and want to be a person, you have to walk
You
over
have
there
to play
and
the
pick a
game.
first and a middle name.
I like it. Makes sense. All right, let's move on to the next segment. Kat always forgets it's here, but we're gonna do it anyway.
Are you obsessed? Is it keeping you up at night? Do you find yourself constantly making references only to be met with blank stares? Obsession. This segment is for you. Obsession. Whether it's musicals, mowers, Motown, Subarus, or Sondheim, it's time to share your obsession. Obsession. With the show with Clayton McKee.
Okay, I'm sorry. I got distracted during that intro because I looked down and Marnie is like eating a NASA food packet. I'm not sure what this is. What is that?
It's just almond butter.
Almond butter in a little packet. Okay.
Yeah.
But though, okay.
The non sequitur today is
Yeah.
amazing.
It's just a protein and stuff. That's all.
Okay. All right. That's all right. Good for you.
Yeah, that's it.
But hair on your back.
Something. Got a chiropractor for that.
Yeah, I heard you can. It'd be darling.
That's good.
Thank
I
you.
like it.
I'll be here all week.
Ah,
Can't. So
well
I actually
played.
prepared for this segment.
Holy
No.
shit.
I know. I didn't prepare for the rest of the show, but I have an obsession.
Okay.
Good night, Summer and Danny.
It is
Good night, kids.
Thanks for joining us.
meal kit delivery services.
Ah,
Okay.
That's right.
Yeah.
Your Blue Apron, your
Yeah.
Sunbasket,
Sure.
your HelloFresh.
yeah.
That's all I ever want to eat ever again.
Oh, wow.
Are they good? Have you tried them?
They are really good. So we signed up for Blue Apron partly because we're having this war in my house of every time I cook something, no one will eat it.
Ah.
And so I
Are
said,
you figuring out that you're the common factor in that?
you know what, I am. I am. And so I said, fuck it. I'm not going to plan these meals anymore. I'm going to sign up and have somebody else do it. Maybe you people will eat this.
Reject them.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
hurt
Then
their
it,
feelings.
Then it doesn't hurt my feelings
Right.
as badly when I
Sure.
make your favorite fucking thing and nobody will eat. Anyway.
Okay. I think we've touched a nerve, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, because the saga continues, we signed up for the Blue Apron.
Okay.
I thought it was lovely.
Mhm.
However, someone has some special dietary needs that I apparently don't properly understand. So literally everything that I
That's
chose from the
funny
Blue
shit.
Apron,
That's fine.
somebody looked at the nutritional information and went, "Oh, I can't eat this." But I have to say, I don't care if anybody else eats them. I'm going to continue to buy these meals. We've now switched to the Sunbasket because they offer a paleo program, which apparently might be close to what our needs are. Although we got the first box, yesterday, and one of them was rejected.
Oh no. Done.
Yeah, I know. I clearly don't understand what it is you're supposed to and not supposed to eat.
Apparently.
I have a
Because
feeling
what is it that we can't have?
everything.
Everything.
Yeah,
It's-
paleo is like it's got to
Right.
fall off a tree.
Okay,
So the-
that's right. That's right.
Like
I've kept a
caveman.
list.
Okay, I
I've
can't
kept a
handle that.
list.
Eat bark.
And I'm glad she doesn't listen anymore because I'd be in a lot of trouble. So it started out as just bread products, and then progressed to potatoes, and then all root vegetables, and now apparently it's all things carbohydrate.
Has she been talking to Katie June?
I maybe no.
Oh, you should check that.
Now
Maybe.
she's sticking to
What's
it.
the matter with Sharon?
Not if she's sticking to
Yeah.
But,
Then you know it's not.
Try this for 4
Yeah.
days
Yeah.
and see what happens.
apparently, in an odd turn of events, chocolate cake is not on that
Oh,
list.
well, of course not.
Hmm.
I don't. Anyway,
By the way,
Weird.
to quote Harrison, obvi.
I digress. But
Duh.
I do have to say, if you were thinking about it, they are kind of pricey, but for 1 week, 2 meals to serve 2 people is less than it costs us to go out to a restaurant. It's like $50 or
Okay.
$60 or something like that per week. So it's less than we used to go out to eat every Monday.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Until that became a big challenge, and so it's still less than dinner for 2 once a week,
Nice. Okay.
which is all right. And they give it to you in all the portions that you need. Blue Apron makes you chop your vegetables. All right.
Fuck 'em.
Yeah, but it comes like step-by-step
The hell?
instructions and interesting foods that you would never think to cook yourself. And so far, everything's been delicious.
The
I love
list of
it.
things I'd never think to cook myself is a long list.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and my friends in Connecticut, they had done it briefly, and then they ran into some snag with it. Like they weren't eating together, and then
Sure.
their schedules were off or something. But there was a couple of the recipes that they just started making on their own. That
Oh,
they
yeah.
were like, I feel like I took a cooking class because I learned how to make this, and we just
Because
go to
I know
store and
the
buy that.
ingredients to
Yeah.
this and I can do this. Right. And
So-
you can keep the different recipe cards and duplicate it. Like there's nothing to stop you from it.
Oh,
But
right.
they package it and they mail it to you in a apparently 100% recyclable container.
Okay.
Literally everything that I opened in the box this week was like, recycle me, recycle me, recycle me.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
That's cool.
Alright.
Because there's a hell of a lot of packaging that goes
It
along
is a
with
lot of
stuff like that.
packaging, yeah. It
So
comes
that
in
makes
a
sense.
big box with a lot of insulation and a big ice pack. But apparently all of it super recyclable.
All right. I like
Yeah.
that.
And different things. They've got like vegetarian stuff and chicken and really, bready, potatoey stuff. That
All
I
right, so
love.
that's my get up and go to start eating better is to get on
Yeah, and you can, you know,
Because
what I
left
mean?
to my own devices, I'm making very
Sure.
bad food choices.
Yeah, and
How are those
so
peanut
to
butter pretzels
consume
working
all
out
the
for you?
ones that have been
Delicious.
rejected, I've been making them for myself on work days, and then taking some to one of the guys that I work with. So
Okay.
Yeah.
that works.
Nice.
And besides
have
the fact
fun.
that you're sucking on apple butter, almond butter,
Almond butter.
Apple butter's delicious, though.
Aside from that, is that?
What else you been
no,
doing?
I just no,
That
what
was-
you
that was the
obsessed with?
segue.
Thank you. I was like,
Yeah.
was that the segue? I'm
That was
not sure.
segue. Yeah.
So I am fascinated with the fact that it's people are lying that it's becoming a trend again, because I'm pretty sure I did this story about 5 years ago. But the idea of snorting condoms.
I don't understand this at all.
I saw the picture
I
just
don't.
today. What the hell?
What is that?
Okay, so
Besides stupid.
besides stupid. That's exactly correct. So condom snort, it says that the trend could be making a comeback. It's not, and it's Fox News apparently that kind of ran with it.
Shut up.
Shocking. Yeah, shocking.
I mean, Tide Pods are tasty, but I mean, I'll draw the line
Right.
at snorting.
Somewhere you have to draw the line. Yeah, let's see, Fox News. So hold on. This one is the one that I want. So it was a fad in 2013. So I went to Snopes because they had
Sure.
a thing about it that this was a fad then, and by fad they mean like a couple of people shot
Posted a
the thing up
video
their
and did
nose,
right. Okay.
So, despite the media's breathless coverage of this alleged social media craze, most of the videos of teens snorting condoms are a year or more old. First of all, why are they even there? Like, what is wrong?
I'm so confused.
When you sit there and you hear people, like, so what can you do? Right?
What's your special talent?
Special talent?
Right.
Snort
Let
condoms?
me tell you, I've watched this Idiot Factory like happen in person right before my eyes. Like I don't
You're
know,
here- but you're here every week.
right?
Yeah, right.
Oh,
Fair
different.
point.
Different factory.
No, I mean,
Got
fair
it.
I mean
point.
children making bad decisions because it's like somebody's just at the crank, just cranking them out,
Uh-huh.
just like
Well,
one after the
because
other.
who's eating Tide Pods?
Right.
I mean, like, who thought
Yeah.
this is a great idea? Then again, I'm
as soon
sucking
as
on
you
apple
as soon
almond
as you
butter.
tell
I don't know.
me that teenagers are filming themselves doing insert stupid thing, I'm like, yep, that seems right.
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 That feels 100% right.
It's too much.
I still say that it is nature's selection right there. If a Tide Pod takes you out, okay.
so be
You
it.
don't need to be
right. The gene pool just got a little bit
Yeah.
more pure.
Thank God. Once you
Heard
watch someone inhale
thinned.
a condom through their nostril. What?
I said herd thinned.
Thinned. Congratulations.
Well
I
played.
like that. So once you watch someone inhale a condom through their nostril and pull it out of their mouth, it's a hard thing to unsee.
Oh, it's like the spaghetti up your nose thing, but it's just a
but
yeah, it's the same,
well,
same,
But
same,
it's latex.
same.
Where would one see such a thing, you might ask? Well, on YouTube, of course, where people began uploading the videos of themselves taking part in the so-called condom snorting challenge in 2013. Not to be confused with the not nearly as gross condom challenge, which involved dropping water-filled condoms on people's heads. That's something totally different, apparently.
Also fun.
Something you do, I
What?
guess. But people were wondering, is this real? It is real, but it just was something that it's not really a phenomenon for 2018. It's just, it blew my mind that this even came up, because as with the Tide Pod Challenge, the press went into full-on moral panic mode in their coverage of condom snorting. Fox News was one of the many news outlets warning that the disturbing new trend could be deadly. Tide Pods are so January. Now teens are taking on an even grosser challenge in pursuit of internet fame. And this one is making stomachs turn as it is disgusting. As it is as disgusting as it is dangerous.
Well, in fairness,
yeah.
they're
Probably pretty clean.
they're new condoms. It's not like they're
right.
Okay, well, I'm just no, but I can just.
Harry back. How did we get there?
No, I'm just thinking. I can just see where Fox News would take this.
I said Harry.
That little
Chiropractic,
Judge
just
Jeannie
to be
bitch
fair.
that's on Fox all the time. I can just see her
Yeah.
going off a deep end, bringing Geraldo in and asking him to suck something up his nose,
Oh Lord.
dragging over the mustache. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, that it was blue almond butter all over the place. Let's talk about blowing something. Anyway.
Here.
Anyway.
Now the cough is back. Thank
Oh,
you.
sorry.
Woo!
Anyway, this new game, it poses a real risk.
New game.
And it can kill. And indeed, the unintended consequences can be fatal.
Yeah,
I mean,
you've got a rubber thing
well,
blocking your
right.
airway.
You know, but
just
people
pull
who
it right back
accidentally
out, it's
have
fine.
inhaled or ingested condoms during oral sex. Like in one case, a woman suffered a collapsed lung and contracted pneumonia after a condom went down her trachea. In another, and I can't tell you, I didn't laugh during this. In another, a woman developed appendicitis after a condom fragment became lodged in her appendix. While this does not necessarily mean that you should panic if you accidentally swallow a condom, because you may just eventually poop it out, he says. It does strongly suggest that you should not
Maria full of
deliberately
grace, yeah.
inhale or swallow a condom. And, you know, we concur because let the record show that while we poo-poo the media's claim that condom snorting rises to the level of a trend, we urge anyone tempted to try it to think hard about the possible consequences, which could, in fact, be dire.
What is
I
going
mean,
on in the world?
you
This
know-
is a sign of like
I
the
don't
world
know.
ending.
I would have thought this would have
for
been one of
real.
your headlines and not an
Oh,
obsession.
no, because I have so many other ones.
Listen, kids, it's a fun
With the-
party
with the,
trick. You used to do it with spaghetti.
right.
Then somebody found out, oh, I could do it with a condom. It's
Correct.
fine.
I've
It's too
never
much.
tried any of these things.
I
No.
did see spaghetti come out someone's nose once, and that was funny.
But was it on purpose?
I used to know a guy
from-
that could do it on purpose.
Oh,
Yeah, he just sticks spaghetti in his mouth and somehow it just start creeping out his nose, and then he could tug both sides and floss. It's amazing.
No!
what happened to this show?
Wow.
We are this close to being a cooking show
on.
now.
We talk about
A
people fucking
gross
cars.
cooking
Yeah, I
show.
believe the spaghetti needs to be al dente when you
I do
Recommend
recommend it.
The difficult part now that Trump is in the White House is that my weird news
It's just
isn't the
news.
same weird
It
news.
pales in comparison to reality.
It sure does.
Yeah, it's just news.
So now I have to go
Just
in search
news.
of these things,
Just news.
and quite frankly, no one would ever like look at my web browser and be like, "Holy shit, she looks at some weird stuff."
Yeah.
Anymore, this is normal.
Get thee to a therapist.
Yeah, right. I'm
Oh
just
my
saying.
God.
How about you,
Alfie,
fine sir?
what is yours?
Well, I've been mildly obsessed with due to time constraints with the Jesus Christ Superstar live in concert.
Oh, I haven't
Jab!
seen it yet.
Ah,
But they got rid of the exclamation point. I guess they went through some name changes with that. There was some focus grouping and reimagining of how they were going to present this. So it turned into Jesus Christ Superstar live in concert, but at first it was Jesus Christ Superstar live! Exclamation point! And this is on that list of shows that I just don't think is it's not that great of a show. And as someone who loses Jesus right after Away in the Manger, I do not understand what happens in that second act. I mean, I get that he gets crucified, and I know there's some stuff that goes on, and a really poorly written female character.
okay.
I think they could take a little bit of time with, but it does have some there's a couple of really, really good songs in it. Really quite good songs. But I find, as written, the original concert, the original cast recording, the movie, a little bit screechy, which I find all Andrew Lloyd Webber. I find to be kind
Yeah,
of
you've said
just
that before.
screeching.
You and Aaron feel the same way with that.
So,
whatever.
seeing this cast, John Legend as Jesus, and then
which I'm sure pissed off some people. Had to have. Had to have.
Sure.
yeah, I'm sure, and all the way
Jesus
around.
just is white.
Right, exactly. That's what I
Sarah
figured.
Bareilles was Mary Magdalene, the
Oh, I
underwritten,
forgot about that.
underwritten part, but a couple of great songs. And then I just want to get his name right because he was Brandon Victor Dixon. This be a star. He is a star on the rise. What a performance.
Do we know him from anybody else? Anywhere else?
He's the replacement Aaron Burr. He took over for Leslie Odom Jr. and he's the one that read the nasty gram to Pence when he saw
Oh, sure.
Hamilton.
Okay.
He won a Tony as a producer of
Very nice.
Hedwig and the Angry Inch, The Revival, Scottsboro Boys, the original cast of The Color Purple. He was, I think, Harpo and Tony nominated for that. Holy crap.
Okay.
I love him already.
Yes, looking good, sang the shit out of his songs, and then when it came for,
Oh, he was in Shuffle Along too.
yeah, with Vanessa, didn't the one with Vanessa Williams, or no? I think I'm mixing up
No,
shows.
that's the one with Audra McDonald.
Right. Just terrific. And YouTube has it. You can watch the whole concert on YouTube. or you can just go song by song like I did. Sarah Bareilles' I Don't
she's
Know How to Love
amazing.
Him.
It's on NBC's website too. You can
Yeah.
just stream it.
Okay.
I Don't Know How to Love Him was absolutely lovely. Just
okay.
her lovely little voice on that song was a perfect fit. John Legend did not. And there's purists that want him to scream his way through Guess the Main, and
Sure.
instead he did like falsetto in a more restrained version. I think his voice may have been going as well by the end of that because they showed him like hitting the chloroseptic spray backstage. But that Superstar number is just to die for. I thought the choreography was great. The costuming was fantastic.
What's the song by Sarah Bareilles again? I'm sorry.
I Don't Know How to Love Him.
Okay.
And she also does one of my favorite songs, Everything's All Right.
Okay.
She's the one that sings the lullaby. But that Superstar number is just terrific. And he's in this Tina Turner-ish mesh silver shirt, like some combination of chainmail or mesh that is so sexy and really shows off like what a great body he has. And then he's got on the sexiest pair of jeans that any human being has ever worn with almost like a silver dance belt coming up the crotch. And I watched it on TV at work, and I was like,
I can't wait to get home.
I'm going to need just a minute with this. I need to get that in the spank bank almost immediately. But I have one, and I just think it's such an eclectic number. I mean, it's such an iconic number. I mean, and it just really well done, and how the staging of it, and it's done at the armor battery in Brooklyn.
Okay.
It was staged on a giant like Mad Max like set.
Right on.
Norm Lewis shows up.
Cool.
And then because I was just kind of watching it without much sound because where I was working,
Right.
the speaker was not working. Because we had the patient that couldn't hear the TV, so we got the speaker that didn't work. But this one that played, I think he played Peter, one of the apostles. He runs across, and I was like, him. And it turns out it's this. His name is Peter Tam. He's been in a few things over the years. He was in the revival of A Chorus Line. That there's just something about him that the minute I see him, I'm like, I'm in love with you. Like, I can spot him in a crowd full of. I could spot him in Singapore at rush hour on a bike. And that came across as an agent joke. He's
That
from
really did.
Tam.
No,
T-A-M.
it's Jason
T-A-M.
Tam.
Jason Tam. That's right. So he was playing Peter.
I like the obsession.
Peter is his
either.
brother.
Yeah. So, he is such a fucking cutie.
I'm gonna have to look up him.
Oh,
Look him up.
You'll
Well,
enjoy.
he's an actor and a dancer. His most notable roles include Marco Rivera on the daytime soap opera One Life to Live,
Oh hi. Hello.
Yeah, I
Paul
told
in
you.
A Chorus Line,
I enjoy him.
One
And in
Life
that
to Live.
documentary,
He's not Asian at all.
yeah, no, he's
Well,
Hawaiian.
Enjoy that too.
Yeah,
What if he knows Bruno
the
Mars?
documentary Every Little Step about the casting of that Chorus Line revival.
35.
They have him in for his callback, and he does Paul's monologue, and like everybody, and it's all the original creators of A Chorus Line that came back to do the revival. They're sitting at a table listening to someone read a speech they've been listening to for 35, 40 years, and they all just break down crying at how well he delivers it. And so it's just lovely. So it was good.
He was in If Then.
Yes, he was in If Then. He was David.
Okay.
So I've ended up seeing him a couple times, and again, If Then I didn't like it, but they had so many things in it for me to like that I ended up being like, all right, thumbs up. You won me over.
Yep.
So, but if you get a chance, go on YouTube and watch just the song Superstar,
Yeah.
and then whatever else you'd like, because their voices are just good. The staging is really crafty.
yeah,
and
I
those
have to go
goddamn
tear the
jeans.
whole thing
Oh.
I
apart
forgot to
anyway.
record it. I didn't have a huge thing, but I thought, again, live performance, I'm curious to see how they pull it off. Because, again, all that they've done in the other ones, on all the networks that have done it, I'm like, okay, that's cool. I see how you did it. Maybe I didn't like it,
Yeah.
but, like, wow, this is live TV. And I'm always appreciative of somebody who can
and
pull off.
right that they're doing live TV. They had the
No
in
edits.
commercials. They had there were complaints about the too many commercials,
I did read that.
but I
You
think
gotta pay
Actually,
those.
on Facebook it said, Jesus Christ, there's a lot of commercials.
Yeah. And then the second one, what
Funny.
what I think they toned it down for YouTube. I think they fixed the sound mix, and I think they're gonna. But they had the audience, and I don't know if they paid them to be hired mourners, but like the audience is like cheering at really inappropriate numbers. Like it almost feels like a laugh track. So that when he finishes, when Superstar finishes, and you've had the great use of the space the giant stage, this great performance, the costumes are good, the choreography's good. They're already on their feet from all the other things they've been like stupidly cheering. That it's just like you should have saved it. Like, you know what I mean? You've been. But when they were like cheering and whooping for the crucifixion, I'm like, really? Like, that's not a time to like sit and reflect. You know what I mean?
It's like I was watching I, Tonya.
Yeah.
Like, well, maybe you shouldn't laugh here.
Right? Yeah. But very good. So I mean, you don't have to watch the whole thing, but catch some numbers, and especially if you like the men, look at those jeans in Superstar, because Christ Lord, that is a good-looking man.
I love it.
Gonna find that. Gonna record that. Get on
There
that.
you go.
I'll move on to my obsessions, and there's two, and I guess part of the interesting thing is, I don't know about you, except all the listeners. I don't listen to Al all the time,
Oh, that's weird.
and I find that there's a
Al?
lot of things.
Who's
Well,
Al?
because
Val.
he just
Val.
She just drones
I have
on,
a refrigerator.
drones on and on about things, and I miss a lot of it. And then I catch stuff later. I'm like, oh. And then I bring it up, and he's like, well, I've been talking about that for 4 fucking years. So I'm sitting in my living room on Sunday morning, and what I like to do, I love the show. I've talked about it before. Jane Pauley hosts it. It's CBS Sunday morning, and yes, they have the very intro of it is current news, but the rest of the show is all feel good stories. It's lovely. It's artistry, or it's a tourism thing, or it's some wonderful charity that helps kids, or whatever. They're all feel good stories, and I just like to cruise through it. Well, I saw something come up, and it just showed, because as I scanned through the first part really fast, because I don't care, I watch all of them anyway. I just get past the daily headlines.
Sure.
But as they tease all the stories, they showed 2 people at a piano singing, and I'm like, oh, we're gonna something, and it said
Sounds
songwriter
lovely.
or whatever. Like, oh, we'll get there. So I watch what other stories. Well, it gets to this couple, and it starts to talk about this couple, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. I didn't know who they were, and they start talking about. First thing they start talking about is how they had met, and how he was very busy writing a show or doing something. He kept calling it the Muppet musical, or the Muppet something he kept calling it. So they get through this whole thing, and then she breaks up with him because he's so busy doing this. And she's like, and I forget what the line is. I'm sure we can Google it and find it. She basically says some kind of a line of, whatever, you join life or you're too busy for it. I forget what it is. Regardless, he then writes the line in the show that he's producing, invites her to come see the show. She has no idea until she hears her line in the show come from a character who's breaking up with somebody else in the show. I again don't know who these people are until I'm watching it, and then all of a sudden I realize it's Kristen and Robert Lopez.
And it's a song. It's
it's
a sign of fine line between love and a waste of your time.
Bingo, that's the line. It's Avenue Q, and I'm like, oh my God. Then I find out they wrote Let It Go, Let It Go. I'm on it with them. I'm applauding in the living room by this time. Well, then they fucking took the dagger and then just killed me, and I'd forgotten.
They wrote the Book of Mormon.
Oh, forgot, but yeah, that too. No,
And
but
Coco.
not goddamn Coco.
Yeah.
Because I don't pay
yeah.
attention to who these people are, but the second that they cut to them winning the Oscar, then they cut back to him playing it. Well, here's what really got me. The song he wrote, according to the story I just watched, he wrote it for his mother
Okay.
and played it at her funeral,
Oh.
who died like last year.
Okay.
Hopefully within the boundaries of the laws of the Oscar, he's gonna lose his Oscar.
Don't know. So played this. So he starts playing the Remember Me. Oh, again, crying.
Yeah.
Every goddamn time that song comes on,
Sure.
I am crying, no matter what capacity it's in, where it comes from, how it gets to me. So that was my one obsession. And I'm like, oh, I've learned more about these people. Oh, and they showed exactly where when they came up with the song Let It Go, the picnic table she stood on in whatever park in New York, and how they figured the whole song out. Very interesting. So let's cut to the other side of the story of where I'm figuring out how to learn things through Family Guy.
Okay.
I didn't realize, because I haven't watched every movie in the world like I'm sure you have, Robin and the Seven Hoods, a 1964 movie that's got Dean Martin and Frank Sinatra, Sammy Davis Jr., Bing Crosby.
It's called the Rat Pack.
Yeah,
They have a name.
right. Well, they added Bing. They added Bing for that one.
Mr. Booze, right?
Mr. Booze.
We went over this last week.
I don't remember talking about this last week.
We were standing in front of your computer. We were hitting each other over Jeremy Jordan. Then we watched the Mr. Booze. I looked it up.
we only watched the animated one that I showed you. I had no idea that it.
You found the real one.
I found the real one. So then I watched the whole real one. I'm like, okay, I've just decided that fucking Seth MacFarlane he is just the gateway to everything that's ever happened. I then find out that there's a part of Family Guy where Stewie on stage smoking recites Rocket Man. And then found out that it's a 1978 William Shatner bit.
album, yeah.
Had no idea.
From his album, William Shatner Talks the Hits or something like that.
I had no idea. And I'm thinking, what kind of a childhood did Seth MacFarlane
Mine.
have?
One with ample access to a music store.
So I now apparently have to go through every song that Family Guy has ever done and figure out where it came from.
Yeah, and I
fantastic.
say that a lot about when I watch the guy that directed Chicago.
Got nothing.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Anyways, Rob Marshall, the guy that directed Chicago. Like, when I watch his movies, I know what movies are his favorites from childhood. Like, in the movie Chicago,
There's an homage to something?
I can just pick out what he stole that shot from.
Oh.
I mean, when they have at the end where Roxy starts singing, "And it's good," it's just Funny Lady. He just stole that shot from Funny Lady. He pans the club, it's just Bob Fosse Cabaret. Like, I can pick out every musical he saw and whether he knows he's ripping off somebody or not. You know what I mean? Or
Right.
like you watch people, or you're like, oh, I know what they like. Or you listen to a singer and you're like, I know that they grew up listening to Mariah Carey. They're screaming at me. Or
I love it.
yeah,
Did you see that? Jenny said that she has that recording.
yeah, the
The
Shatner
Shatner,
one because it was funny.
It's on YouTube. I had no idea. But if you have no idea what
love
I'm
that.
talking about, you can Google Family Guy, Rocket Man, Stewie, and find it. And then go 1978 William Shatner, Rocket Man. And you're like, oh my God. What in that? I was
It's right up
astounded.
there with Ethel Merman Sings Disco. Like, it's just one of those tragedies of the late 70s where, like,
my
the
God,
wheels
that's
came off the
funny.
bus.
And I love
it was time to move on to a new decade.
And
Like,
I like the setup that they did
That's
for this. If you
funny.
watch the William Shatner, the thing, the buildup is a whole thing about the lyricist Bernie Taupin, who works with Elton John, and how the lyrics stand alone and will tell the story. So William Shatner recites Rocket Man. And it was hilarious to me to watch it because I love Stewie's version. And I thought, who would have ever thought of this?
and my thing with, like, Rocket Man is it repeats. It's got two verses, and then it just keeps repeating, and I think it's gonna be a long, long song. You know what I mean? Like,
Didn't we almost write a song?
So, yeah, when you're talking, it's like, God damn, like, how could you? There's no new lyric. You know what I mean?
But anyway, it's funny, and those were my obsessions this week when I was like getting ready. And well, the reason I found Mr. Booze was I had started YouTube playing the Family Guy version, and then I stepped out of the room and it went whatever to the next video, and then like the third video that came through, it starts with this. I'm like, I ran in the living room, scared the cats because I'm like, oh. I'm like, what in the
How did we get here?
what is this? Because I hear Bing Crosby as this preacher telling this, and I'm like, what in the hell is this? Then I had to watch the whole thing.
And my obsession with the best from last week by Tina Turner turns out that's a Bonnie Tyler song.
Oh, it is?
Which one?
Simply the Best. She
Simply
wrote that?
the best. No. She recorded it. It's from some random guys wrote it, or a man and a woman I think wrote it. But Bonnie Tyler had it first, and they brought it to Tina to record, and she.
I thought you said Bonnie Raitt, and I was trying to put that together in my head.
No, Total Eclipse of the
Wow.
Heart.
Okay, Bonnie Tyler.
Turn around,
Turn
Bright
around,
Eyes.
Bright Eyes.
Yeah.
So she sang that first.
Oh, I'd like to hear that. I'll have
Yeah.
to find that too.
So it was interesting to find out, and Tina thought it was out of her range. She didn't want to record it. Somebody in the studio next door like helped her with the vocals and like how to get there.
Simply the Best. I'll look that up. Okay.
Because like once I get obsessed with I love those people on TV that are the people that are famous with talent that take my obsession and do wonderful things with it instead of me just watching the same things over and over. They've made whole careers out of it. I love them.
Yeah.
Good for them. Not bitter.
Not at all. Okay.
Wow.
Well then.
Combining obsession with no talent is hard.
Well then. Let's see if we can.
I don't know
pull.
what we're talking about anymore.
Sorry.
Second glass of wine.
You'll figure it out. Here we go. Let's see if we can get this segment off its ass and rolling right here. The teaser going into hour 2. We call it headlines. You call it must listen podcasts. A Russian chooses death over service.
Friends don't let friends drink and drive alone.
In God we trust.
Pointy gets in trouble for being an asshole.
Kansas woman finds her ex in the attic.
Are you my daddy?
Giant schlongs in Japan? That seems out of place.
Oh, damn it, that's mine.
That seemed awkward. These stories.
Just heard it.
We'll be back, and who knows what we're going to talk about.
Oh, my giant penis.
Oh, because I burned some bridges at Wendy's.
You're listening to Q Talk America.
Educates, syncopates, radio communicates, radio, the sound of year-round pleasure.
This is the Q Talk America Radio Network.
And guess what, everybody? We are back. It is the beginning of hour 2, or the second hour of the hostage crisis, depending on how you want to look at it. Welcome to it. This is Q Talk America. I'm Clayton McKee alongside Kat Carlson, Marnie Ryer, and that's Al Perkins. He's joining us each and every week when he's not out of town.
I think instead of headlines, we should just do Tina Turner lip syncing for the rest of the hour.
Well,
I'm good with that. I have better be good to be prepared.
Sure you do. It's lovely. If you missed the first hour, well, you'll be able to listen to it later. We post all 3 hours separately of the show on qtalkamerica.com, and it plays 24/7. The last 3 shows play 24/7 on radio.co. You can find us there. Find the links to all of that fun stuff on qtalkamerica.com. The tab is Listen and Chat. You can find all the links there. But in the meantime, we're going to get underway with our little segment called Headlines. Well, following in the steps of a Washington, D.C.-based security robot that ran into a water fountain, its cousin, a Russian postal drone, has crashed into a building mere seconds after its inaugural liftoff, as reported by Reuters News. The test, which occurred in the Siberian city of Ulan-Ude, was meant to carry a package to a nearby village in order to demonstrate the new way to deliver mail. Video captured by Reuters News shows the drone taking off from the launch pad with the package emblazoned with the Russian Post's blue and white logo on the side. Everything seems initially fine, and then it can be seen tipping sideways in the beginning of what is a oh no, 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 oh no moment. And then it careens full speed into a 3-story residential brick building. There's an audible "oh" from someone in the audience, and when the camera shows the drone again, it's absolutely shattered and on the ground. The video ends on a somber note with a lone piece of paper blowing by the drone's remains. Russia first announced its intentions to start using drones for postal deliveries back in 2016, about the same time they started to interfere with elections in the U.S.
Same week.
This particular drone was made by a company called Rudron Expediter, and the cost was around $20,000. It's thought that there were more than 100 different Wi-Fi connections in the area that could have been the cause of the crash. Now, it's possible, however, but perhaps like the robot that in D.C. that plunged itself into a water fountain, maybe the drone simply hated its job so much it just decided to go out with a dramatic blaze. Now what we're going to show you is the video of the damn thing crashing. This is fantastic. If I can, what do I have to click? Hang on, I got things to click here. Here we go. This is the drone footage. And this is fantastic to watch. There's the logo. There's the drone. Launch it. There it goes. It's up. They are astounded. Then bank to the left. And where'd it go? Where'd it go? Bam!
Did somebody just yell fuck?
Yeah, something like that. And there it is. $20,000 drone, seconds in the air, and it's gone.
I had that exact same experience about 4 years ago, Christmas. These stupid helicopters were everything. They were everywhere.
I remember. Yeah, I remember those.
Yep. They were everywhere. They were in the mall when people still went to the mall.
Mm-hmm.
They were all over online. And so we ended up with several of them under our Christmas tree one year. And
lucky you.
Well, what ended up happening is it became kind of a Frankenstein situation because we broke this part of this one and that part of that one.
Yeah.
And so I ended up with like a helicopter boneyard that I would just try
Mad Maxing your way through helicopters.
I'm just trying to cobble these fucking things together so that somebody
Nobody
can go
uses
outside.
cobble anymore. I enjoyed that.
Thanks.
With this drone thing, yeah, it's I'm interested by them. I'm fascinated by them. And when we were in Italy, I told you about standing in front of the Vatican and being like, you just can't get a picture of this. Like,
right.
It's too much. It's at every angle. Like,
Some guy
even panorama's not going to do it.
Right.
And then I saw, like, later that afternoon, they were selling, like, all the touristy shit that they sell. Umbrellas were big that week.
Like you do.
Shocking.
But people were selling drones.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
So when I was like, well,
they're cheap now.
I mean, that'd be a cool. I mean, they have to be cheap if there's Canal Street type vendors selling them
right
on the streets of Rome, and I'm like, well, then would they be crashing? But it would be fun to have like your tourist experience kind of like droned. Like, I think I'd be kind of into that. It seems a little egomaniacal, and like, how many drones will there be flying down the Tiber or whatever the fuck that river's called? But I really have been fascinated by. I watch, like, whenever I want to go somewhere, I watch if they have a drone video.
Footage,
like, did they fly a drone over it? Because I want to watch that. I can't, I think it's interesting.
Oh, it's very cool. They use them in all kinds of different things,
Yeah.
but it is.
But are the skies just going to be? Because I'm thinking, like,
yes, that's the problem.
Nascent, is that the word I'm looking for? Like, is it just the dawn of the are we just at the dawn, and pretty soon, like, it's just going to be Amazon drones dropping off packages and flyovers,
Right,
and
that's part of
That
it.
would be amazing.
children's birthday parties being filmed from 20 feet up. They're going to
It's
be the new.
Also amazing.
Already happening. Phoenix Pride.
You go see your kids in the King and I, and there's like 9 million drones on top of the stage. Yeah.
The
That feels like too
Phoenix
much.
Pride a couple years ago, for the first time, used a drone where they have the photographer that they use. It's a team, I guess a couple. I believe they're together, but they got their drone for the first time, and they were doing a lot of flyover pics of Pride, which is cool because you can't really tell how the
Right.
crowd is, but it's very dramatic for the promotion and their advertising. They get great shots of things, and you
It gives
wave
you a
at
news
it.
helicopter feel without the news
100%.
helicopter. Yeah.
But the other, what they're running into is, and I'm sure Kat has probably already researched and read more about this than I ever will, but what they're running into with this is all of these drones overhead, you're immediately running into privacy laws. Because it's got to fly over your house and her house and somebody else's house to get to
Yeah.
my house. So there's cameras on it. What are they seeing? If somebody's laying out sunbathing in their backyard or whatever they're doing, now they're talking about privacy issues with all of them. So there's a
Yeah,
lot
I
of
mean-
FAA rules that are going to go along with this because of all them flying everywhere.
And and somebody just said Black Mirror because it just 10
okay.
minutes 10 minutes in the future.
Yep.
I worry when something fascinates me enough to think I might want one of those. Like if Grandma, I'm sorry, Val. When Grandma Val wants a new piece of technology, it's fucked. That
Right.
means that
Oh, you
kids
poor
already
thing.
have 70 of them. Like, you know what I
Right.
mean? Like competing drones.
Sure.
But I just picture that going. All I did was just see it across the way, and I'm like, oh, I've seen the future, and it's just
Yeah.
a sky full of these little buzzing motherfuckers.
I haven't flown one
You'll
yet or
miss
tried one, but
mosquitoes.
I'm sure at some point I will, and I'm terrified of wrecking it into the side of a building. But so we'll go in a big field somewhere. Try it.
Yeah, no, I think they're a little more stable and durable.
Just not in Siberia.
Yes.
Well,
Right.
I don't know what happened there, but no, the kids had kind of a really cheapy one that was kind of bumpered, and it only flew about yay high. It would never go much higher than this. It didn't have a whole lot of lift to it, but yeah, it beat the crap out of that thing for about a week before it
And
finally
I'm
died.
sure.
A week.
Listen, that's a long time for an electronic device.
That's true. For two young boys, that's a long time.
Anything with moving parts that gets to crash into stuff, if it
Yeah.
lasts a week, that was a good buy.
Yeah, that's true.
Without going in the pool.
Right.
Yeah.
Fair point. Fair
Oh,
point.
and it's pool season now too. Everything goes in the fucking pool.
That's right.
The kids, the wife, the food.
Right. Can't tell you how many times I have to tell them, no, the cat doesn't go in the fucking pool. Put him down.
Oh, I don't know about that. Some cats like to swim.
Not this one.
We've tested it.
Oh wait, you are an actual feline.
No, an actual feline.
I wasn't sure if
he's-
maybe you were opposed to water all of a
He's
sudden.
not a fan.
Right?
Go ahead.
Oh gosh, I have a story. Wait. What was I going to talk about?
I don't
Oh,
know.
a 24-year-old Virginia woman, as it turns out, was allegedly drunk driving
Oh.
in New Jersey. Like
As
you
you
do.
want to
Like
do.
you
sure,
do.
Sure.
Yeah, she smashed into two parked cars, then switched seats and let her also drunk friend, who crashed into another two vehicles, drive for a little while.
Well, now they're even. I mean, it makes
Right.
sense.
No.
Friends don't let
Tag,
friends
you're
They were
a
going for
drunk
points.
drive
Yeah.
alone.
Tag.
That's right.
No.
Police say, not
Anything
surprisingly,
you could do, I can do better.
I know.
I can hit any car better than you.
We've literally.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can.
Sorry.
Hold my
you
beer.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I've actually had this conversation. No, you're too drunk. Pull over. I'm gonna drive for a
We're
while.
gonna drive us home.
And you know it's a true
Should
story
I
when
just
somebody
call a
closes one
cab?
eye. Because every person has tried the one eye thing, like better
Right.
or worse. Better
Number
or
one,
worse?
number two,
Number one, number two.
Well, not surprisingly, in this case, police say that both women reeked of alcohol
Oh.
and reported that they had been in a club. They allegedly told the cops they were trying to figure out who was less drunk and who could drive.
That's legit right there.
Yeah.
Turns out, neither.
Neither, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, but, well,
No winner, no winner.
Those of you interested, cops say they damaged 4 vehicles,
Oh.
3 Hondas, 1 Nissan.
oh.
Oh, they
Oh,
were
it's
just
a
going
hate
for
crime.
four. Right.
Yeah, foreign cars.
They don't let.
That's it.
Yep.
No injuries, but they were both charged with drunk driving, unfortunately in a school zone.
Oh.
Oh my gosh.
So it was during
No.
the day?
During the day?
It doesn't say.
Day
Day
drinking.
drinkers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
day drinking in the
It
USA.
wasn't
Recent
Aaron.
day
It
drinkers.
wasn't Aaron
Isn't that the
last
name of that
Friday, I'll
Miley
tell you
Cyrus
that.
song? Day drinking in the USA?
Yes.
No, party in the USA.
Yes.
Or,
Well, same.
parenthetically.
Same
Synonyms.
song.
Yeah.
Same song.
All night. Day drinking in the USA. All night.
Footnote here, it wasn't immediately clear Tuesday if either woman had retained an attorney.
But they'd each had another drink.
Wasn't immediately clear about their vision either, I'm pretty sure.
Oh boy.
Yeah, every story of me incredibly intoxicated has to be told with only one eye open.
Yeah.
Because between my contacts just taking a shit on me at some point,
Or
and
being
the
really
drunkenness.
super dry. Like,
Yeah.
there's always, like,
Yeah.
the contact days.
Well, and you know, in God we trust when you're driving like that. You know, when you're driving a little inebriated, or you're just fucking
Jesus
crazy.
take the wheel, right?
Yeah.
Jesus
Be
take
a better
the
driver.
wheel is just a big deal here because, well, there was a mom in Georgia that decided
Wow.
to crash her car into a pole. You know why? She wanted to prove that God was real.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
You
On
can't
Easter?
make that kind.
Did she do
Happy
this shit on
to
Easter?
you. April Fools.
Wait, did she
right?
do
Like,
this shit on Easter?
It was.
I'm not sure
no.
I approve of your
March
police
23rd,
work 100%.
but that would have been funny. the rock's gonna roll back. So,
Jesus don't live
No,
No, Jesus.
Jesus just is white. So the mom did. She crashed her car into a pole just to prove that God was real to her kids. You know, the kids that were in the car, because that's not, you know, neglect or abuse.
I presume
or-
that the lack of dead people is the proof that she was looking for.
Well, that's just it. No one died, so therefore I feel like she could do this again. I feel like she's going to be a repeat offender. Let me
Smart.
prove it. Police say a mother intentionally crashed her SUV into a pole to prove to her two small children that God is real. Oh my gosh. This woman, Bakari Warren, she's 25 years old.
Wait, did you say Bacardi?
Bakari?
Oh,
That'd be funny.
thought her name was
and she was
Bacardi.
hammered. She was one of the drivers.
I was saying, is
in
she
her
from my story?
She told the officers after the crash that she did it on purpose to show her kids that if they believe, God would protect them.
I feel like here's what I feel like. I feel like this is a cover story. I think what actually happened is here's mom behind the wheel. There's the kids in the back seat.
Hero.
Right, the kids in the back seat
Are we
fighting.
there yet? Are we there yet?
Right.
Are we there yet?
Because let me tell you, there's nothing more
God only
enraging than these people in the back seat. And so basically, mom loses her mind, says, if you people don't shut the fuck up, I'm going to slam this car into a pole.
I'm turning this whole car
And only
around.
God is going to save
And so,
you.
so she makes this extreme declaration, like you do.
Right.
And as predicted, little Johnny in the back goes,
Yep.
but he's touching me. And mom goes,
Bam.
I can't hear it anymore.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the Jesus
I
thing's a
understand.
cover story in this
Yeah.
case.
And it very well could be. It very well could be. And I can see that.
And I'm writing it down.
You better pray
right
to
now, 'cause
Jesus.
I may
Yeah.
need it.
You might use that
Yeah.
someday.
Yeah, I'm going to need an insanity defense.
Yeah.
As a lifelong atheist, I wanted to test the theory. I feel like this is
Absolutely.
going to fly.
I think it'll work.
Okay,
I
so
think it'll work.
so she admitted to intentional.
So,
okay.
right. Stop already. I just plugged my phone in and that came up. All right. Anyway, so the crash and the 5 and 7-year-old kid's explanation were all caught on camera. Okay, so this little 5-year-old and 7-year-old are the ones that are in the car, scared to death.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right. Well, just short of death because Jesus. But police say that Warren was driving, and so if I don't know where Gwinnett County, Georgia is, but I'm wondering if
And
Brant
would a map
listens,
actually help you?
If Brant still listens to be like,
Oh, yeah.
where
Was it the
where-
meth capital of
where-
Georgia?
I'm like, is this where close to him?
The
'Cause
Tacoma,
Peachtree-
Washington of Georgia.
Peachtree Industrial Boulevard when she crossed into the opposite lane and drove head on into a concrete pole. So she wasn't fucking around. It wasn't like she just picked
She committed to
a
this.
stop sign.
Right.
Right. Well,
Concrete
yeah.
pole.
Well,
Sitting in a police car, her children explained what happened before the crash. The officer asked, "Do you think she did it on purpose?" Yeah, because she turned and her eyes was closed and she was saying blah blah blah, I love God. One daughter said she did blah blah blah, I love God.
can we quote you, ma'am?
I
on
know,
this?
right? She didn't want us to just have a car accident. The daughter went on to say she wanted us to know that God is real.
Jeezy peas.
So they're not going to be real fucked up if they aren't already.
And what-
police, go ahead.
I don't know if you're going to get the completely sober,
That's my understanding.
just
yeah.
mentally deranged.
Yep.
Okay.
Police say that Warren told her children to buckle up their seatbelts.
It's going to be
But
a bumpy
if you-
ride.
Yeah.
If you believe in, if this is about Jesus,
Yeah.
you wouldn't need the seatbelts. That's what I'm saying. But
If you're really
anyway,
committed
if
to
you
this
really
story,
believe,
right? I believe I can.
Fair
fly.
point. Well made.
thank you.
Yeah.
So buckle up their seatbelts just before she accelerated into the pole. Warren was frisked and handcuffed right after she got out of the SUV. When the officers asked the driver of the vehicle what happened, her first statement was to check. Her first statement to them was to check her Facebook, and it would explain what happened.
Well, at least she posted it on
Facebook, the Bible.
So is this?
I think they go hand in hand.
But
for
is this
her.
almost looked at as premeditated murder?
think,
Like, I mean,
right.
she tried. Was she trying to?
It's attempted murder,
That's-
I think.
I would think-
they only did.
I should think. I don't
They
know.
only did
Not a
two
lawyer.
counts. She's charging with 2 counts of child cruelty. I would think that it would be something more substantial, but
Yeah.
so her Facebook's going to explain what happened. I haven't gone to her Facebook page yet, but I will right after this.
Who is she? Wait, let's do it.
Bakari Warren.
The traditional
Traditional
spelling.
spelling.
spelling, yeah. The way you've been spelling
B-A-K.
Bakari for years.
Yeah.
Bakari.
Oh, my God.
Last name Warren.
I was expecting an H.
25. She looks like
Bakari.
this.
May I say? Yep, that's exactly what my next question was going to be. But you've
That-
revealed
so
it
when
by
you-
a picture.
No, I know, but when you see, just so that she would know who to be looking for.
That was not. I was not expecting that.
For her to be black, her name's Bakari.
It's a common name in a couple different.
I have never heard that name before.
Yeah, I have. That's
so
not a common name, but it's one I've heard before, so I wasn't sure what was going to turn around.
Tony Thomas, the Channel 2 reporter, found nothing directly referencing the incident on what appeared to be her Facebook page. But police say she later gave the same reasons as her kids, and that was to prove that God would protect them. No one was hurt in the accident, but thank God for the seatbelt
Well,
and/or /God.
Nobody was physically hurt. Mentally, those kids are fucked.
Oh my God! Every time a car accelerates,
Right.
they'll be like, ah.
Well, this
but
wasn't day one of this adventure either.
You know that
You
has
know, yeah.
happened
They've spent
before.
time with mom before.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't crash the car in the cement post day one of crazy. You got to build it. You've been at this a while.
Oh,
You
absolutely.
gotta warm up to that.
Well, and
Been running over small children and strollers.
Right.
I love
There's
that.
a bit of runway behind you by the time you get there.
Yeah.
I love that the police gave a very heartfelt account of this. It could have been a lot worse. Do you think? I think so. I think they could have been dead.
Smart.
It could have been heavier traffic at the time. She could have hit the pole at such an angle that she did more damage to the car. What the hell is wrong with them?
Right.
No
Those
one's worried about.
kids.
No
What
one's
about
worried
the
about the
mental
car.
health?
There's always
Right.
somebody worried about the car.
I know, it's true. That's
Yeah.
true. So anyway, she's a $22,000 bond. She's in jail, and the kids, thank God, are with their grandparents, who we're hoping are not as strong of believers. Hopefully, it's the paternal grandparents at this point.
Yeah, let's follow that line of crazy because again, didn't just arrive here
For
today.
real.
I didn't see
Yeah.
anything on the
the Facebooks?
Facebooks. She must not have made it public.
Well, I just have to tell you, that's just nut baggery, is what I'm going to call it.
Well, we'll go right here. Nutbaggery. Trump appointee at Defense Department resigns. Surprise! Another resignation
Same, yeah.
after CNN reveals birther postings. A political appointee at the State Department
Those are different. I'm
at
sorry.
the Department of Defense has resigned after CNN K-file inquiry about controversial postings he made on the Book of Faces. Todd Johnson is a former Trump campaign state director in New Mexico who joined the DoD in 2017 as an advanced officer, a Pentagon employee with a sensitive task of providing logistical support related to the Secretary's events and appearances both domestically and abroad. High pay scale. He was a birther and shared a video that claimed Obama was the Antichrist.
Oh, gee.
CNN initially reached out to the Pentagon for comment. Johnson made his Facebook account private after that. A spokesperson confirmed Johnson was still working at the Pentagon Tuesday morning, but in the afternoon, after CNN informed the Department of Defense that a story was forthcoming, a Pentagon spokesperson said, "Can't find him." Photos and videos posted online show Johnson has traveled extensively with the Secretary of Defense, John Mattis, overseas and posted in photos with Trump and at the Pentagon, along with Mattis and former Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel. There's been so many, I don't even remember who that one is.
Right.
Well, like Rachel's wall. Just got to get a bigger wall. There's more of these fucking idiots.
So
You're gonna have to have a
We're
scroll.
gonna need a bigger
Yeah.
Yeah,
wall.
oh, a scroll.
So here's my favorite part. In September of this past year, 2017, the year of our Lord, Johnson warned friends on Facebook against posting or tagging him in articles about current events and politics. in quotes, while I really appreciate you tagging me and posting to my wall articles covering politics and current issues, I have to request that you please refrain from doing so any longer. Due to the sensitive nature of my job, he did this in September. I don't mean to upset anyone. It's just what I have to do to protect myself and others in my position and to comply with our policies.
The policy that says you can't be a bigot, racist person.
A crazy conspiracy
Oh,
theorist. Yeah.
pick one.
So before taking the job, Johnson regularly posted articles and content popular in mainstream conservative circles. He also shared conspiracy theories about Obama's citizenship, an off-color joke about Obama dying in a plane crash, and a clipping that compared people on entitlements to animals.
Well,
Just one more. Remember, we're gonna drain the swamp, and just the best.
Yeah.
People.
First, we're gonna
the
fill it
best
up with
people
all
at
of the
a
worst
Klan
people.
rally. Like, what was the rest of the crowd that these were the best? You know what I mean? Like, what were they all doing together? That this was the cream that came to the top. You know what I mean?
for real.
Just.
Ugh.
I mean, I kind of want to go to Washington because I think there's some space available. You know what I mean? I think I can get in a hotel room because nobody works there.
Well, you know, it used to be that I was concerned about my 20s, that I could never run for public office, that I could never hold any kind of, but with this administration,
Fuck it, yeah.
shit, I could be working in the White House next week.
Do anything you want, yeah.
Well, I mean, I just do the whole hide that I'm gay, and all that.
Right.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to show this, but now that you mentioned about the people and only the greatest, only the best of all of the cabinet members, I assume you saw this picture that I posted earlier on Facebook, this reel, as he's rapidly running out of real people who want anything to do with him. Donald Trump has turned to bringing fictional characters into the administration.
Oh my God.
I'll do this job if I can wear this hat.
So nobody
I
knows
want the glasses.
who the
Yeah.
hell I
Yeah.
am.
Oh my
I just
God.
thought that was great. That was
That's
My
actually
handle is
Fantastic.
Easter Bunny.
that
and
was
I don't want
actually
anyone to
from
know my real
that was
name.
actually from Half Onion in a bag that we follow on Twitter. The fact that the onion
Yeah,
in
I
a
love
bag.
half an onion in a bag.
Yes, there.
And nutbaggery, can we make that the drinking
Well,
word?
let me get some wine. We'll make
Well,
it the
why
drinking
not?
word.
Nutbaggery.
Nutbag this.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of nutbags, sometimes you find them in the attic. A Kansas woman who was afraid an intruder had broken into her home was surprised when her ex-boyfriend's legs punched through the ceiling, revealing, dun dun dun, he'd been hiding in the attic. Artistic
From the Nazis?
artistic. It's not Anne Frank. Artistic recreation of what
It's
that.
Arnie Frank.
This is what that may or may not have looked like in her
That's good.
attic. Not really sure, but we're gonna go with that. Maybe what it
That
looked like.
just at the ready.
Captain Paul Forrester of the Salina, Kansas Police Department told the Salina Journal the 23-year-old woman returned home to find her chain lock had been locked from the inside, prompting her to call police to check out her home. Police checked, then left after they didn't find anyone. But 2 hours later, Tyler Bergkamp's 25, who was 25, well, his legs popped through the ceiling and scared the shit out of her
Oh, could you
and her
imagine?
current boyfriend.
Oh.
The woman's current boyfriend was at the house at the time and managed to pull her ex all the way through the ceiling into the living room
I'm thinking not gently.
where a fight broke out.
Ah,
Weird.
They wrestled
saw that coming.
They wrestled each other out into the front lawn by the time police arrived. 3 young children were in the home at the time of the incident but were unharmed. Bergkamp is charged with aggravated burglary, stalking, criminal damage to property, criminal threat and possession of methamphetamine. As of press time, there was no legal representation noted.
Boyfriend's in the attic.
Can you imagine sitting at home all of a sudden?
Isn't that a new
I mean, the
horror
lock
movie?
was weird. How did the lock get locked from inside?
Right.
And all of a sudden you're sitting there and just boom,
Yeah.
Legs.
legs that
Yeah.
are moving.
When I saw that picture, all I could picture is going, "Get me the axe."
Yeah, I would just
We're gonna
sit. You're,
chop this
you're just
fucker
chilling,
up.
watching Netflix, and all of a sudden, boom,
Oh,
Methamphetamine comes to call.
comes right there.
man.
Crazy.
That is crazy. That's crazy.
Oh. I guess that makes it my turn again, huh?
It
Yeah, it is.
Oh, good.
It's the way we do this.
I like it. In a round.
I didn't know if we had, like,
No.
if somebody had played a reverse or.
Yeah.
No,
As long as this show is above the equator,
that's right.
this way.
Because
That's
it's.
right.
All
The
right.
shit spins in this direction.
Well.
Clockwise shit.
The wheels on the bus go round.
Well, it feels like everyone is doing these like mail order, like give someone your DNA so they can clone you later.
Oh
kits,
yeah.
right?
yeah.
Well,
Sure.
sure.
Right.
Yep.
Well,
Well, remember Barbara Streisand did it with her dog.
Ah,
We
yes.
just did that story a couple weeks
she
ago.
cloned her dog. Yeah,
Cloned her
yeah.
dog.
Yeah,
Oh,
The-
yeah.
like the 23andMe
That
and the
went well.
Ancestry.com stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I'm hugely uncomfortable with it. But Kelly Rolette, well, when she received the results from her DNA sample, she assumed that there had been a mistake. The test showed that her DNA matched a sample from a doctor more than 500 miles away, and she had never heard of him. But Ancestry.com predicted a parent-child relationship between the two. Ancestry was just like,
Oh, that
that
can't be good.
fucking guy over
Yeah,
there.
Yeah.
She's like,
Wait a minute.
wait a minute.
Slowly I turn.
Well,
Right.
at the time, Kelly was not aware that more than 36 years ago, her parents had struggled to conceive.
Oh.
Sure.
Okay, this is better than I thought. 'Cause,
She-
you know.
She did not know that her mother had undergone artificial insemination, nor did she or her parents
Oh.
know that her mother's fertility doctor had allegedly used his own sperm.
Oh,
Dun, dun, dun!
I
Oh.
saw that shit on Law and Order SVU.
oh my
Yeah,
God.
I totally did.
Yeah. This account comes from a lawsuit filed last week in the U.S. District Court in Idaho.
Oh, damn.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh.
Gerald
That's
E. Mortimer,
crazy.
a now retired obstetrician
Oh,
in Idaho Falls.
That sounds suspect.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, he's got enough kids.
From Idaho
gave it the
Falls, of all
office.
Yeah.
places.
Yeah, Idaho Falls. That
Often.
sounds suspicious too. for some
Yeah,
reason.
he's being accused of fraud and medical negligence, among other
I
things.
can't imagine.
and reckless ejaculation. I don't know. What, is that a charge?
Well, he could not immediately be reached for comment, and it's not clear whether or not he has an
'cause
attorney.
He's rubbing one off over
Yeah.
here
Yeah.
for something else he's doing.
But it seems
He's
that
giving.
in the early 1980s, this Kelly's parents, Howard and Sally, they sound nice.
The Reagan years. It was a difficult time
They
for
sound
everybody.
nice.
Nice.
Howard and
They
Sally.
were married
They
and living in
sound nice.
Idaho Falls, and they were having a hard time getting pregnant.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah, so,
Wow.
yep. Dr. Mortimer.
That would be something.
Dr. Mortimer diagnosed low sperm count, and that he had a low sperm count and she had a tipped uterus.
Oh, a tipped you.
Right.
Oh, for God's sake.
Let me tell you,
You know,
cow tipping not a thing. Tipped
Tipped
uteruses,
uterus,
that's
a
a
You
thing.
thing.
gotta look at your uterus with one eye closed.
totally different. Yep. Yep.
Well, the doctor at the time recommended that she undergo a procedure in which she would be inseminated with sperm from her husband and an anonymous donor who matched their specifications.
So she got a
So
mixed
they,
drink.
so they knew, right? They knew that there was a cocktail happening, but the lawsuit claims,
Ooh.
right?
This is good.
The lawsuit claims that when Dr. Mortimer performed the procedure in summer 1980,
Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Yeah, this is nutbaggery.
right?
This is a different.
Battery.
He performed a different procedure.
He got his nut up.
I don't want their
Nutbaggery.
soup.
Oh no.
Sir, there's a fly in my.
Understandably, the lawsuit states that
Screaming semen in my soup.
that the child, the end result of this nutbaggery,
Yep.
the product. There's the word I was looking for. The
Thank you.
product
There
of
you
the
go.
nutbaggery
Yeah.
That was lovely. Thank
Products
you.
of conception.
was horrified when she got her DNA results.
Oh.
Contacted her parents in a panic.
Sure.
Who's my daddy?
What?
Oh,
That I never even thought of that coming, but we've got to finish researching your stuff because
Yeah,
we don't know
same.
yet.
Ancestry.com in a comment basically said
You might
not our
have a
problem.
sister.
Yeah.
Oh no, 100% it's not our problem.
Sure.
Oh, and if he was
Yeah.
donating, well, now they have that. One of the reasons they're saying it is that a lot of people aren't telling their children
Right.
about problems with conception and that
Right.
kind of stuff. And so you could be accidentally with a cousin
Right.
Oh, I was
or
thinking more.
closer because that same person could have been kept donating and everybody kept
Well,
using
sure.
that profile.
Oh no, I was thinking more health reasons. All of a sudden, well, why does Becky have this problem and nobody else in the family has? And all of a sudden, you find
Right.
out that the donor, was
Oh, yeah, that has that rare
right
genetic
or whatever.
disorder,
I don't know enough medical terms to get this all to come out in the wash,
I
but
get it, yeah.
just seems like I wasn't thinking what you are about how you could be with a cousin. I was thinking more of a medical issue.
Sure. Or
Well, they
I
just-
mean, it could be even closer than that, like Al was saying, because if you have the
Is you
same
my
dad-
brother?
Well, but if you have the same dad, but all these different moms, they're not gonna look alike. More than likely,
Right.
Right.
They're not going to have the same.
But didn't we do the story of now the banks recently cut down how many once they've used the sample
Yes, yeah, we
like
did
5
do
or
that.
10 times
Yeah.
they were like throw the
Yep.
rest away
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
we did talk about
because
that.
they had people would go into the book, and there was one guy whose sample everybody liked, and he turns out, what did he have, like 20 kids or something?
I don't remember.
In
But
the
yeah,
same area.
it's some crazy thing, right?
Yeah,
It was a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was not
Fascinating.
But that is a
Now I
crazy.
kind of want to get my sister tested because I've been telling her whole life that she wasn't ours.
Yeah.
Is there more to that? Did we
no,
interrupt
the
you?
end. The end.
Wow, I think that. Oh, I'd like to hear how that
Well,
turns
it's,
out.
Yeah.
because
it's in
Have her
court,
on
so
as a
we're gonna have to
guest.
find out.
Yeah,
That's
and
something.
Harrison's right. Sue him for support.
Oh, they're suing him for sure.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. That
No,
wasn't
this-
in a
this
question.
story's a thing because they're suing him.
That
Wow.
You can't sue the sperm donor. You got to
They're
sue.
suing the
but yeah,
doctor for malpractice.
Right,
and
whoever
negligence.
made the soup. Right, yeah. Not the
Right.
guy that just,
He
brought
made
the
the
carrots.
soup. He made the soup with his own
With his
nutbaggery,
own-
though.
right.
Oh, he's both.
Yeah.
No,
He's
it
the
was
doctor.
it was the father with low sperm count, and he said you will have a donor that you will not know of. He made himself
Right.
the donor.
It was supposed to be an anonymous donor, but he.
right.
Okay, I thought there was two doctors in the story. Just
Oh,
the
huh.
No,
one
no, no,
doctor.
no.
Just the
One
Just the
doctor.
one.
One, dear.
One
Just
doctor,
the
two
one, dear.
samples, one elegant turkey baster.
Hence,
Yeah.
nutbaggery.
Exactly.
Wow.
How did
Now-
we get here?
Now,
Nutbaggery.
the whole show. The whole
We've
show.
been here all night.
I got an email through
Snorting
Ancestry.com. A woman who says she has been going through her tree, and we don't know a lot about my mom's father's side. We don't know a lot about that. My maternal grandfather, right? My maternal great grandfather. But she did the DNA thing, and it pops up that she and I are somewhere like fourth or fifth cousins. And then she sent me the link to her tree that they're working on. She's trying to figure out the placement of that. Well, a couple days later, I get another email on my father's father. I get another one from that side that they're trying to, and I'm like, I just think this is fascinating to me. Still, it's just fascinating to figure all these lines, because what I'm dying to figure out is, did somebody marry or do something somewhere and nobody knew about it, and now we find out that there's a fork in the tree that a great uncle stripped somebody, and I just think that's all fascinating to find out. But I mean, I think it's completely it's I don't think it's an invasion at all. I get an email from somebody who says, we have a DNA match similar to what this young lady is experiencing. However, I'm well aware of the batter mix I was brought up in, so I figure I'm pretty safe
The
with that.
batter.
All right.
Yeah. And I mean, I've got
That's
two
funny.
two people on my case that are kind of like, they're killing themselves to put it together, and I'm like, I will, like, when my schedule gets back to normal next week, I will, like, we'll come over and we'll put together the tree and try to figure out.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Because there's people that are like, this. I look like a fourth cousin. I'm like, fourth cousin is so far removed. Like, that makes no difference at all.
Right.
But there's somebody that's supposedly a first cousin that knows, like, has the region and all this stuff, and so some of it's kind of interesting.
It's fun.
It's just it's a rabbit, like, and now I see the hole, so I'm like, I'm just gonna walk around that
Right.
till I have time to fall down, like in the summer when I want to be locked in front of a computer for the rest of my life.
See, and my family's been doing this since before all the websites. Like, they've gone to the genealogy libraries.
Which is so
and
hard to do. I mean,
it's so hard
that's
to do,
a lot.
But it was important to my grandmother, so they started digging into it in like the 90s. Like, they've been doing this forever.
Yeah, and then you get the people that, like, because they used to write family names in the Bible, so you have to
That's
keep
right.
track of those Bibles, because they would tell you, like, you're like, oh God,
Who
I didn't
was
know.
who and
Yeah, I
what
didn't know
was-
this
right.
person died before I was born. They don't talk about, there's somebody
Right.
like
Oh.
they don't talk about that person anymore.
Well, and again, it's like I had mentioned to you before, we found out that my mom's mom had a sister that was born and had passed before she was ever born, and my aunt didn't know about it either. So we're like, did she ever know she had a sister? We
Right.
don't know that. We'll never know that. But again, I just find it completely fascinating to figure out all these little things, and you're like, who are you and how?
Oh yeah. Oh,
I
and to
just
see
thought-
to see a death certificate to me is just like, the story of like, what did this boy die from? You know.
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
And then you like, well, the death certificate's here.
Well, I'm
know.
still trying to figure out my father's stepmother. She was married before she married my grandfather, and he died young.
And didn't you just find that out in the...
Right. I had
Yeah.
no idea why we were going to visit this family,
Sure.
across the state line. Come to find out it was her former in-laws. But I found out that the husband had died. I never knew she was married, but I have yet to find out,
Yeah.
any death certificate to figure out why he died so young. But just again, I just think it's completely
Yeah, like
fascinating.
my-
but
my-
that story is really something.
fun?
That's where it
For real.
goes.
Golly.
real.
Oh, the Mormons are terrific about.
Oh, of course they are.
Terrific about keeping family histories. They may be the ones that started some of this.
Oh,
If
I believe that to be the case.
If I'm
Because
not, if I'm not mistaken,
Probably, well,
one
because that's where one of the biggest genealogy
Right.
libraries is
And-
in Salt Lake.
well,
Oh,
and
really?
if I'm not
Yeah, I
mistaken,
didn't know that.
Ancestry.com is based there and run out
Is
of that
it?
whole thing.
That
Yeah.
makes a lot of
I-
sense.
I think
I
I'm.
feel like that's true that one of those two companies has some kind of.
I believe it's.
Well, because in that particular faith, the bigger your family,
Right, right.
the higher the place in the celestial kingdom you belong.
that
So the more
wild?
people that you can prove are your
Yours.
family and
Sure.
your true follower, like the higher your place in heaven when you die.
I like it.
Huh?
I'm always
just
saying
wa-
I'm.
I just
jockeying
wanna
for
figure
position.
out-
I didn't realize that.
I just wanted to figure out
That
who
makes
slept with
sense.
who and what product
Yeah,
came
right,
out of
right,
it.
right. Yeah.
Wow.
What kind of shenanigans and nutbaggery happened?
Nutbaggery.
Nutbaggery.
Am I the only one drinking?
Well,
Yeah, I
Maybe.
gave up. I didn't like it.
so speaking of, schlongs in the wrong place,
I gotta cut the video.
Lungs in the wrong. That feels like a band name to me.
I've got schlongs in low places. No,
Looking for schlongs in
All
all the
the
wrong
wrong
places.
I got schlongs in low
lesbian bars,
places.
nunneries,
Yeah,
all the wrong places.
Nutbaggery. So there's an annual.
Just
How
love.
did we get here? How did this happen? The annual penis festival. Duh.
Oh,
Yes.
in Japan, sure.
In Japan.
You tell me.
It's about more than just
Dim
giant
sum.
schlongs.
You need to tell me when to cut the video, and I don't know, point at me, do something. I'm not sure.
Well,
Whip out your schlong.
Well, yeah.
I've seen this before. No, I feel like we've done
And
that.
We
Stroke-
have.
we
stroke
have,
in my
but
direction.
This is a little bit. It's a little bit different.
Oh,
A
it's
little bit more
nuanced.
newsworthy.
Ah.
Oh.
So, an event in Kawasaki, Japan, aroused. That's right. Lots of interest last weekend. Of course, that's to be expected with a festival dedicated to the male sex organ. Kanamara, you heard me. Matsuri, you heard me again. AKA the Festival of the Steel Phallus, has been a spring
I
tradition
feel like that needs a sound effect.
since 1969.
Can we warm it up a little?
Oh, there's the sound effect.
So
That's all the times it missed going in.
yeah, see? That's the nutbaggery. The shooting of the nutbaggery. Kanamara Matsuri, the Festival of the Steel Phallus, has been the spring tradition
More
since
like-
69. There you go, yeah.
That one, maybe. I'm sorry.
Uh-huh. It's a spiritual event celebrating both the penis and fertility. This doctor may have been involved. We're not sure. It's held annually the first Sunday of April. Held.
It's held
Yeah,
annually.
It's held annually. The first Sunday only
Poor
of April.
thing. Should really be held
and
daily.
This year
like
is April Fool's.
Like Santa
so,
only comes
my
once a year,
goodness.
so sorry about that
No,
too.
No, the phallus just is white.
Sometimes I'm jealous of Santa.
Anyway, participants parade gigantic phallic-shaped mikoshi, portable Shinto shrines, as it were.
Yeah.
They suck on penis lollipops.
Like you do.
They pose
it.
with sex organ,
Basically, a bachelorette party.
Ain't
pose with sex
nothing like the
organ-shaped
real
sculptures, and they get their hands on whatever penis-shaped souvenirs they can grab. And now, fine sir,
And now we
I
cut
go
to a
to
midget
The
in an
rest of
apron.
the story.
Oh,
now
you want
let's show
you want me to
them.
cut?
I want Shinto shrines.
Hang on, let's
Shinto
Cut or
shrines.
uncut, it's fine.
Oh, Shinto shrines.
Okay.
Oh, well.
Oh.
Oh, look at that.
The waving
sucking
makes it
on the-
really wrong.
I don't know why it's waving like that.
Look,
That's the video you
they're,
sent me.
They're writing. That's how it was when I found this one. But
Because
not
they
the other one.
because they used Windows Movie
There
Maker
you
to
go.
compile
There
these
you go,
together.
right?
Well, is that a canoe?
Well, nope, wrong.
If used
choice.
correctly, ouch,
Oh.
that's gotta
That-
hurt.
Yep. We're making that up as we go. Yep.
Is that
that's
soap?
Those are radishes, by the way.
Those are
Those
candles.
radishes.
I think candles leads to a lot of bad choices.
But yeah.
Ooh, what something's diseased there.
Well, they've been
You
used
might
before.
want to need that looked
Well,
at.
that's from 1969. Oh.
Oh,
Snorting
no.
condoms.
No. Wow.
That's a good
I want
costume right there.
out.
That one's
I
gonna
want
win the
that
costume
Okay,
contest.
how is
Look,
the-
and now they're drinking out of those. Yep. And-
Wow.
Oh, well. So this happens
Why? Okay.
annually.
Tell me when I can stop showing
You
this
can
video.
stop whenever
Now,
you would
now,
like.
now. How about now? Is it now yet?
Anyway,
How do you feel about Cleveland?
do you not approve of the Shinto shrine? Good Lord.
No, I do not
so
approve.
Now, as many as 50,000 people attend the Penis Festival, which these days it teaches visitors. This is what I thought was kind of cool, because I don't believe that we did this in the past, that we talked about this.
Do they have a parade?
It's a parade.
Does
Like,
it
it's a
just
big-
does it just inch along?
Yeah.
No,
Curves to the right.
nutbaggery. I like it. So it teaches visitors about safe sex practices and raises funds for HIV charities. And
Oh.
I don't know that we
Oh,
did
very
that
cool.
before.
All right, now silver lining. Now we got this. All right.
Absolutely.
Okay, wait, their AIDS walk is way better than ours.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jenny is correct. There was a vagina in there. But,
There was.
The Penis Festival has roots in the 1600s, when Kawasaki sex workers would worship at the Kanayama Shrine.
Why are the
praying-
motorcycle manufacturers also
Well,
sex workers? I
Because
don't
they
understand.
rev up, praying for
Something hot.
protection
It's a gig. What is it? A gig?
from
No, I
STDs.
lost that.
Right? So these days, though, people still attend the festival to pray for good fortune and to ask protection from the gods.
Who
We
wouldn't?
call that snorting condoms. The festival is steeped in the past, but still has valuable part to play in modern society. And much of what they do, it's partly inspired by a legend about. This was what I thought was also odd. The festival is partly inspired by a legend about a sharp-toothed demon who planted itself in a woman's vagina after she rejected him. The demon repeatedly bit the penis of the woman's husband until she paid a blacksmith to create a steel phallus hard enough to break the demon's teeth. That
Now, did he come through
is
the
the
ceiling?
rest of the story.
May have done that.
That is the rest of the story.
Sweet
Nut
Lord.
baggery.
Let me tell you what I got out of that last bit of your story. What I get is
Yep.
husband A, let's just call him A. A wasn't getting the job done. You know what I'm saying?
Fair point.
So she decided to get a bigger, better mousetrap, if you
a
will.
vibrator.
Something
Yeah.
to get done what she needed to get done.
Deal.
And that was just her way to keep the demon away.
It was harder.
Right, sure. Bigger, longer, and uncut.
Like
Yes.
you do.
Like happens.
As it should be. For some people, not me.
And I'm sure when she was breaking those teeth, it was really something
Yeah,
trying to get
could
that,
be.
you know,
She kept putting it in there and trying to break those teeth.
Right.
Putting it in there and break
Yep.
those teeth.
Break
Right.
the teeth. Break the teeth.
screaming, shut a lamp up my ass!
Baggery, I say.
I feel like I stopped listening at a bad place.
or started back up at a bad place.
I don't know what's happening.
Well, we don't know. We don't know.
It's a vagina with teeth. and
I need
it's-
an adult. I need an
It's
adult.
kind of like oh hell, what's the plant? The
Venus?
Venus
No,
flytrap.
no. The
Little Shop
musical.
of Horrors?
Little Shop of Horrors.
Oh.
Thank you. I'm all.
Yeah, and whatever they offer you, don't feed the plants.
Don't. Just don't.
Yeah. So now for the rest of another story, if I may.
Okay.
Serial, a show we've all jumped into at various points. The initial season was about Syed. Adnan Syed, the subject of Serial's hit first season, has been granted a new trial, according to reports. He was in prison for the murder of an ex-girlfriend, Hae Min Lee, in 1999, who's been serving a life sentence since 2000. Syed's conviction has proved controversial since forming the basis of the hugely popular first season of Serial in 2014, which looked at the alleged inconsistencies in his trial. NBC Washington reports that the Maryland Court of Special Appeals ruled last Thursday, March 29th, that Syed would be granted a new trial after the state appealed an earlier vacation. In June of 2016, a lower court judge vacated Syed's conviction, granting him a retrial after citing that key evidence had not been cross-examined in the initial trial. So now it's going to be a trial, but I guess he's still in jail. I'm not exactly sure. This man, I believe, very, 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 very falsely accused and railroaded into jail by a sick lawyer. Unfortunately, if you listen to the first season of Serial, his lawyer was disbarred after that, was suffering from a couple different health conditions, was having a really rough time, overburdened.
Yeah, we
and
totally
really just
listened to that whole
take
thing.
the
It was
time.
amazing.
So I mean, justice is a slow-moving animal. I mean, this man has lost 20 years of his life, if he is indeed innocent. But if you listen to the and there was a follow-up to it that was very long. The Serial podcast was very good and riveting. But then the woman who was the one that brought it to her attention, she did her own follow-up podcast to it that was
Yeah.
quite long and really went into detail point by point. And if you were a non-believer at the end of Serial, this woman was gonna convert you by the end of her podcast.
Okay.
So there is a sequel. I cannot remember what it was called though, but it's worth a listen. It's very good. But that the initial Serial podcast about him and that trial, and the weird friend that still does interviews and still kind of goes back
So
and
weird.
forth on his story and still. And in my humble opinion, I don't know if this is true. I think something as silly as a marijuana charge is what's keeping him. Like, I want them to give him immunity from whatever it is they have on him.
Oh.
Because I think it's something simple like, we're going to arrest you for possession of marijuana in a state with really draconian marijuana laws.
Sure.
So it's like him getting put away for life, or turn in your friend and say that he killed this girl. Because that's the only witness, and his story changes like 8 million times and has no consistencies.
So crazy.
The cell phone towers.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much to it.
Good night, Harrison. Thank you for participating, and congratulations.
Good night, Harry. Congrats.
Harry back
soon. Harry.
And now it's a
that's what
pun.
needs to go on the back of the T-shirts. Harry back soon.
Oh.
No.
No.
No, I feel like no.
Maybe just
I
our
feel like
T-shirts.
that
Maybe just
just-
our T-shirts.
Just doesn't
No.
give the message you're looking for.
But not the same feeling.
All right, fine. I don't know.
It doesn't say trusted medical professional the way you think it does.
Oh, my bad. My bad.
Oh, god damn. Oh, so that was my story.
So
I'm
that
done.
was your story. Well, now flip over to your entertainment headlines, and you're going to do that here. Let me do this.
Very, very briefly. A couple of season finales. Will they or won't they be renewed? A controversial show earns huge ratings and approval from the Trumps. There's a new movie coming out that I think looks quite intriguing, so we're going to talk about that.
Okay.
And I still have not seen Love, Simon, so I can't talk about that yet.
I haven't seen it either.
And then maybe a bar or two from Bonnie Tyler's The Best. Or is
Simply.
it?
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
What is it?
We'll find out.
Oh my God. Well, that's a teaser for what we call Hour 3, where Al Perkins does entertainment. Coming up later, it's Kat Carlson with Two Things. Stay here.
We've all got places to go! We've all got places to go!
You're listening to Q Talk America. is the Q Talk America Radio Network.
Well, good evening once again. Welcome to what we call Hour 3. This is, well, some critics would say the most exciting, the most irritating.
Others just say it happens.
The home stretch is really what it is to get us to the end of this hostage negotiation. Anywho, it's the show. It's Q Talk America. I'm Clayton McKee, sitting alongside Kat Carlson, Marnie Ryer. That right there is Al Perkins. We are the cast of the show, coming to you live from a studio in central Phoenix, Arizona. Wherever you are, thank you for listening. The chat room is just chock full of people. You get Jenny and Amina. Harrison just left a while ago. Nero's there. Joe D. My mom is somewhere in there. I'm sure I'm missing some other people. Meow Cow.
From the snowy
tundra.
part of spring.
Mary.
Sounds awful.
It's lovely. Ladies and gentlemen, this is entertainment, and we started off with Mr. Al Perkins.
Well, exciting news. Crazy Ex-Girlfriend has been renewed for season 4.
Very exciting.
But Rachel Bloom, is that really her name? Has said that will be the last.
Oh, okay. I thought she was leaving already.
No,
She can't leave. She's the main character.
And I'm curious to see where they're gonna go with it, since it took such a dark, realistic
Such a weird
take
turn,
on
right.
mental illness. How they're gonna finish this up and who she ends up with for the many suitors. I hope they bring back Greg. Was that the bartender from the first season?
Santino Fontana?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I hope they bring him back.
Rolled off your tongue pretty easy. What? Santino
He
Fontana.
was a charmer.
He's charming. He's also got Broadway credits. He was.
You can just say cred. We understand what you mean.
Cred.
Broadway cred. Board cred.
Yeah,
You could say
he
that.
was the Prince in Cinderella when it revived a couple years ago.
Oh,
he
yes.
Something else, and he does a lot of concert stuff with Laura Osnes, who I really enjoy.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's a terrific cast because the best friend,
Heather.
the crazy one at the office. Now I can't think of.
Oh, what the fuck is her name?
Paula, because she was I think her name in real life is Donna. She is she was Pirelli in the revival of Sweeney Todd with Patti LuPone that I saw. That was so good. It was so much fun. So anyways, renewed, and then 2 shows that ended on good notes, and we're not sure if they'll ever be back. Speechless, which really does have a good chance of being back, with Minnie Driver.
I see the ads for that one. I haven't watched it.
I've gotten caught up over since I've been back. That's been my go-to 30 minutes was finishing up the season because a guy that we met at the Donna Summer musical in La Jolla, he and his boyfriend were or husband were in the aisle in front of us, and I was enjoying their reaction to the show, and I knew the guy from somewhere. Mm-hmm. And now I can't think of, he's on Speechless, and he's on another show that I currently watch. He's on 2 shows. And
Didn't you meet him in the bathroom or something?
I asked the husband in the bathroom. I'm like, listen, I know him from somewhere. What do I know him from? And he's from that show Better Off Ted that I absolutely loved years ago with Portia de Rossi. So really fun. So I wanted to see the rest of the season because I knew from his Facebook postings that his part has gotten bigger and is very charming. But it looks like it probably will be renewed. But it's a good show. Minnie Driver's always funny. What's his face? Bowie from Big Bang Theory.
Oh yeah.
He's the father. The little girl from The Walking Dead is one of the daughters. The one that look at the flowers. She's one of the daughters, and it's a story about a kid with cerebral palsy, senior in high school, as the family moves their 19th time to get the kids into some kind of life, and just the way that they handle special needs families is I think is very charming.
Oh, that's cool.
And how realistic it is of the things that you just leave by the wayside because there just isn't time for everything. Really cute show. And then the X-Files ended last week or 2 weeks ago now.
Somebody else was just telling me about that.
Oh my God, did they resolve all of those storylines into one, kill off everybody on the show, and then left you with this crazy hopeful ending. And then Chris Carter, who's been the writer, producer, creator of the show since day one and is still with it, he's like, who knows? The ratings are okay, but who knows if all of us can get the band back together one more time. But they left it. If that's it, it was a very, very satisfying ending to a show that did not end satisfactorily 15 years ago.
Right.
It was very nice that they came back brought back the straggler characters that they had woven in that hadn't become too big of stars that they could bring back and bring it to a conclusion. And they had one fun Black Mirror episode about drones and about like automated restaurants, everything. They did their own 10 minutes in the future story that was mostly silent. That was kind of clever. So the X-Files went out with a bang if that's the end. If it's not, welcome back, because these last 2 seasons have been really good.
Yeah, I think it was my new karaoke DJ that came and like filled my whole ear with it because he was like blown away. And it seems like it would be up my alley, but it's just not. Like X-Files has never been my thing. So he's like, wait, am I going to spoil it for you? I'm like, I don't think I've watched that show, and I can't tell you how long. And probably slept through it when I did watch it. So go ahead. And he just like blah, 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 blah.
And there's gotta be a way to go through and tell you like which episodes you can pull out of the X-Files, like, because you can pull out the mythology episodes,
right?
Like, just don't watch the ones with the one mythology that goes through. Just watch the monster episodes. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And terrific. And they've done a nice job with these 2 new seasons of doing like 2 mythology episodes and the rest monster of the week.
Okay.
And they're always terrific. It's a fun little kind of a fun procedural cop show, but with a twist of like the supernatural. And they've just been able to keep that going, where he's always looking for like the supernatural and she's always looking for the rational explanation, and how like there's that mix of both. It's cool. So that was the shows that are ending. I don't think the X-Files will be back until somebody needs money. Yeah. I definitely think Speechless will be back, and it's good to know Crazy Ex-Girlfriend's got one more season for us. So that was cute. Let me see. I feel like there was one more thing in here. No. The movie this week is called, and A Quiet Place, directed by John Krasinski from The Office.
I watched,
that looks so fucking scary.
They were on CBS this morning on Sunday, and they did a whole segment about that. And wow, that is an interesting movie. The whole premise of it.
Yeah, everything about it looks really good. So with his wife, Emily Blunt, and it got
I love.
Yeah, got a B+ from Entertainment Weekly, and people saying it's a very smart thriller and very exciting. So I'm super excited about that, and love Simon this week when I finally get.
But the most interesting thing about that movie is, and I guess she turns to him. They said in one of the screenings for the movie, Emily asked him, "What do you want out of this? Like, what do you want?" He goes, "I just want somebody to cheer. I want somebody at the end of it to applaud or something." Well, I guess what happened was at the end of it, the entire crowd stood up and just roared with cheer about the approval for the movie. And she looks at him and she goes, "You just made a silent movie." And he goes, "Yeah, I did." She goes, "No, think about it. You just made a silent movie that's going to go gangbusters." I just thought it was fantastic because that's what he did. Like, yeah. And the fact that what they showed, and it creeped me out, and I won't see it because it's going to scare me.
Yeah.
But just how much sound, like you talk about the clock ticking in Dunkirk. I just can't imagine, like, every little fucking sound in this movie is just the character. It's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
It would just freak me out.
It gives me the heebie-jeebies just watching the trailers. I'm like,
it?
nope, turn it off.
There's a whole scene where she has to give birth in a bathtub silently.
No, I haven't seen that.
Oh, no, they showed it. I'm like, you can't do that. The creatures will get you. But yeah, yeah, no, I can't. I won't watch it. I'm sure I won't watch it.
So I'm excited for that and love Simon. So now Roseanne is back as of last Tuesday. I think while we were on the air, she was
the hour special.
She was debuting, and has become a breakthrough. And Roseanne had just become a breakthrough hit when Bob Iger was named president for ABC in 1989. So while subordinates might be neophytes in dealing with the show's, I never say this word right, eponymous star, means named after itself.
Oh.
Like if the album was
the
called,
character is Roseanne Connor, and it's Roseanne Barr playing it.
Yeah,
I think you're saying it right.
Eponymous, I think so.
Because it's synonymous.
Eponymous, that makes sense.
Or hippo.
Yeah. CEOs know well the drama that surrounded her sitcom and how those oversized ratings brought them commensurate headaches. So the question now is whether history will repeat itself and to what extent the possible benefits of the Roseanne revival will be offset by ancillary issues involving its controversial star, Roseanne Barr.
Who wrote this article with their
Thesaurus.
The new gay kid on the show.
Yeah.
thesaurus?
ABC received a welcome jolt of good news from last week's premiere, which amassed more than 18 million same-day viewers. That's huge. Like, The Walking Dead hasn't hit that in years. And has ballooned well above that figure when delayed tune-in per Nielsen estimates. Yet almost as soon as the show aired, the blowback began, fueled by a new tweet from Barr as well as old ones that quickly resurfaced. ABC wasted little time in renewing the series, meaning that the network intends to be in the Roseanne business for a while, but the care and handling of the show and its star could present a delicate balancing act, with a higher than usual degree of difficulty for network executives. Her support of President Trump was seized on by some, including the president, as a key factor in the program's big debut. Yet Barr almost immediately generated separate headlines by tweeting a strange fringe theory about child trafficking rings and how Trump has freed so many children held in bondage to pimps all over the world. Like, she's still batshit crazy. The Washington Post's David Weigel dissected the tweet's convoluted origins, but that wasn't the only Twitter flare-up. It didn't take long for critics to recirculate a photo in which Barr appeared made up to look like Hitler, along with other provocative social media postings. So she's dressed as Hitler, putting Jewish cookies in the oven, and it's just, it was meant as satire, but as call Kathy Griffin, and she'll just tell you it doesn't come off. It
Not
just
always,
didn't work. Yeah.
Sure. Well, now I saw her on, it was Roseanne, Sarah Gilbert, and John Goodman. Thank you. I'm like Dan Connor. On
what does everybody
on
think
The
I'm dead?
View. And first of all, Sarah Gilbert's the one who supposedly like brought this back.
She did.
She was one of the main people, and Whitney Cummings.
Whitney Cummings, right.
And so, as far as the bring it back, and fine. So I'm hearing all this batshit crazy stuff about Roseanne, but what she presented on The View wasn't batshit crazy at all.
Right.
It didn't come off that way, at least. And so I kept waiting, and then I was reading more, and I'm thinking, so who was she presenting when she was on there? Was it just that she didn't want to get attacked by Joy and Whoopi? Or
sure.
Like, but I don't know. It was really weird because I kept waiting, and I couldn't figure out how Sarah Gilbert would be like, yeah, okay. The money.
Oh, sure.
I don't know.
But they threw an awful lot at you for that first error. There was a lot coming at you between.
Well, they had to solve a lot of things.
Right,
they had to resurrect Dan.
There was a lot of that going on, but I was like, I felt that it was just too much for the first the comeback. However, I did read something later, and maybe something that you also read, where now that it's there and they've said it, it gets easier going forward. Like she's
like
not
Jackie is on the left.
Right, but it's not as in your face and is not as much as what.
Well,
that
Will and Grace
first
did that too. They'd been gone for however many years.
Sure.
And they knew a lot of shit. Like they, rapid fire solved all those gaps and then moved on with life.
Yeah.
So,
you know what I mean?
So I'm looking forward.
And they had the misguided Trump episode too. Their Trump bashing episode was not well done.
That was their first episode, yeah.
However, the cake, what 2 weeks ago, the cake episode was very funny. To me. Anyway, but no,
funny.
Roseanne's on. This is a Tuesday, so she's on tonight. So, but I'm curious to watch it and see how much more tame it is than
so
the last
worth
one.
watching then.
I think it's worth. I do. I thought it was funny. I enjoyed it. I don't know about how everybody else, but you didn't like it even in the beginning. Yeah. You never cared for it then. Some of the jokes are very good. The one-liners back and forth between Sarah Gilbert's character. It was interesting that the daughter is much taller than Sarah Gilbert and looks like maybe she should be coming back as Sarah Gilbert's character. It looked a little odd. But the kid that plays her son, who is, he wants to dress different, he wants to do his hair different. Just to watch the message though, initially it's Dan really trying to protect the kid, but you see them embrace the kid, and I like that message very much. It was we're all different, and we'll accept you regardless. That was a good message.
If only that was Trump supporters' images.
Exactly.
Right. If only that's.
But there were good parents on both sides.
Right.
I know it, and you know it too.
So about the Jewish cookies, Jenny, you got to Google it because anything I say is going to turn into a hate crime. Like,
Oh yeah, I don't remember what the
Oh, I'll pull the
actual
picture up if you
cookies
want.
were.
Yeah, it's awful. So one of my famously one of the early producers, Jeff Harris, from the 80s and 90s, took out a full-page ad in Variety
View.
when he left the show, saying he had decided to take a vacation in the relative peace and quiet of Beirut
Oh.
after working with them on the show.
That's funny.
Um,
Have I said in the past 10, 15 minutes how cute Jason Tam is? I really should have brought that up earlier. I'd like just rekindle
Wow.
that. Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
they were on The View.
so that's it. So it's back, huge hit, got renewed.
Right.
Everybody's kind of been on the fence. I've read good things, bad things on social media about had enough, did enough, and mostly it's like it always was. It's just her. Like, I want to be supportive of female comedians, but it doesn't mean I have to like every single one. And
Right.
I'm just like, she just doesn't. I get her. Like, I get where she's coming from, and maybe that's why Joy and Whoopi, because I watched that interview.
Oh, you did
Take
see
it easy on
Okay.
her. Like, is
Yep.
it her stand-up? Is it like the persona she's
Sure.
trying to like portray? But she did run for president once,
Right.
and she was just nuts for that whole run.
Well, and it seemed like Sarah Gilbert was trying to calm
mute it.
everything and
Yeah.
mute everything. I don't know if you caught that.
Yeah,
but
but she's
I
on the
really-
blandest talk show in history, The Talk.
Fair point. But I just think when she was
I don't know. I
when
feel
things were being thrown out there that Sarah Gilbert was
Trying to deflect it and be like, no,
right,
we're just trying to get through this ABC show.
Because
that
they
we've gotta-"
briefly
Yeah.
tried to.
right.
They briefly tried to bring up like, okay, your set was a living hell for everyone that was on it. Is that gotten better? And they were like, well, we all got along, like the cast. Yeah, but you run through like 900
Oh, right. Directors and producers.
like,
right.
There was screaming
Including
matches, there
Tom
were
Arnold.
walkouts, right?
Right.
Oh, and Tom Arnold has been
Right.
funny
oh,
on
I
Twitter.
forgot about the Tom Arnold
Tom
factor.
Arnold has been after her on Twitter, and it's
Well,
been
and
kind
Oh, I
of
bet.
he was saying that he was in apparently either was talking with Jackie or he liked what's her face
Laurie Metcalf.
Uh-huh.
that initially he liked Laurie Metcalf like
As a friend
what
back then
no,
today.
like
A romantic
was it,
interest.
a romantic
Oh,
interest.
oh.
Like
And
liked her,
that-
liked her.
Yeah.
liked her
Like pass her note, study hall like
check
that.
yes or no
Should have understood that. Check yes or no.
no and
Send me a message back.
right and that I guess Roseanne just nixed the shit out of that was like
Oh.
oh no because I think she liked him.
Well, she married him.
No, she married
no, but
him,
I
right.
mean they weren't seeing each other at the time. There wasn't
That almost sounds like
interest
a
at the time.
almost sounds like a Lucy Vivian Vance kind of a thing.
For sure.
I'm the star of the show. Somebody's
Sure.
gonna fall in love with
And
me,
she made
not
such
you.
a big deal about changing her name to Roseanne Arnold on the credits, and then the next year it was just Roseanne, and then they did all of them just their first names. Like,
Right?
it's a
That's
self
right.
it's a self-caused controversy. Like, don't make it seem like we brought this on. Like, you did this.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's just a little.
Well, but I do enjoy. I did enjoy some of the
nutbaggery of-
digs, like when he walks in from running to the like to the CVS or the Walgreens, and he walks in and comes in and she's like, well, where's all? He puts all the bottles on the table, and she's like, well, where is everything? And he goes, well, our healthcare doesn't pay for any of this anymore. And then they have to divvy up the pills, like I'll trade you two statins for antihistamine or however they did it all.
Right.
And it was kind of funny, but again, that's another dig that all of a sudden you're getting your health care taken away from you because
Yeah.
nothing creates.
And I thought it was interesting that they said that they went because they're in the same town.
Right.
Right. And doing that. So they went back to that area to say, what's going on?
Oh.
Right? Like, what's going on here?
Right,
and the Sarah Gilbert said that what they're
Langford.
that
Make
what they're
believe town.
finding is that people now, the money that they're making is, what did she say, less than what they were making when the show came out. I think it was something to that effect, and that it was
What was a poor area is now more poor.
right.
Right, because I'm sure that the
And
raise
considered middle class, but
right, their raises have not gone with inflation, so
Right.
they're still maybe they're getting paid
Probably
more. but-
haven't got a raise.
And the
Oh,
jobs
right,
and the
right.
jobs have left.
yeah,
No.
correct.
Is it a coal country?
So instead of making a half
You mean
decent wage
clean
at the
coal?
factory, now you're working at Walmart.
Clean coal.
Clean coal.
Right.
Yep.
Gonna bring it back.
Well, and or they work for Carrier.
Right.
That's not
right.
going anywhere.
Yeah, no. 6 weeks later. We're gonna ship all this to
That's right.
Mexico.
I think
Yeah.
that should go there.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, it says
It's
Roseanne
not a
Barr's crazy
persona.
is for real, though
Yeah.
it's not a persona. I think so too.
True. That's I mean
Agreed.
that's
I
true.
agree.
Yeah.
Oh, she had that reality show for a minute.
Oh,
Roseanne's
the,
Nuts,
Roseanne's
remember?
Nuts, where she the nut farm in Hawaii,
Oh, right.
where she had crazy like
Yes.
I saw like 2 episodes of that, and I was like, nope, turn it off.
crazy
Yeah.
people with
And the
guitars that
guy?
would show. Yes, whoever the hell he was.
husband- No. Boyfriend.
Boyfriend.
Yeah,
He's a weird ass.
Yeah.
yeah. She got
I
somebody to
love him.
come there and film that shit and put it on TV.
No, her name was
Crazy.
Roseanne.
She ran
Crazy.
for president and got an okay amount of votes in like Florida one year.
Oh. And look
Better,
who's president.
better
now.
than Jill Stein.
I don't remember.
No, I'm kidding. I don't really care.
No, but we talked
Wouldn't
about it on
that
the
be a
show that
fucking
night
shame?
because we looked up how many votes
oh,
Roseanne had gotten in Florida because she wasn't on every state's ballot. She could
Oh.
only run in like
Right.
one state.
oh, okay. That's
And
fucked
wouldn't
up.
that be something if she did get more votes?
Oh, and one of our favorite shows that we keep talking about that I don't know that everybody's on board with, and I understand it. Schitt's Creek is crossing the 50 episode threshold, and they are even surprised at the fact that they've done it. I watched something on their Twitter feed about it, and even they're like, "How many have we done?" And Eugene Levy's like, "I thought we were like on 7."
Yeah. And they're having so much fun with that.
Yeah,
It's such a cute show.
I'm still enjoying it.
It's my Thursday morning treat when I get off work. It's
No.
like, ooh,
Oh.
an episode tape last night.
Sure, yeah, yes.
So that's it for entertainment.
Now, have you watched yet? Mom has watched the first one. I know we mentioned it last week. I still have not watched. I'm waiting to get. I think I'm waiting to a point where I get several of them so I can binge. Is Trust the about the Gettys on FX?
No, I have not.
Oh, no.
But now, is that an American Crime Story series too?
No.
It's just a series.
It's just a series.
And is that Ryan?
No.
No. Okay. Well, I'm knowing on everything at this point, but I haven't started watching it. I don't know if anybody else had. Mom watched the first one. I know of. I don't know if she's watched the second one yet, but
My friend Kevin is watching it, and he likes it, but he says the guy playing Paul Getty is too cute.
oh,
Like they've cast too cute a man.
Got it.
Is that a problem?
I can apparently I can only watch shows that are attached to Shonda Rhimes at this time.
Fair.
Yeah.
well, there are several to choose
There
from.
are several to choose from. The ones that I have chosen are Grey's Anatomy and the new one For the People. Grey's Anatomy, of course, is a 14-year love affair.
Right?
Yeah, still going strong.
I just don't know.
I don't know how that's still happening.
Look at
Seriously.
you.
I missed
don't know
the
how
whole
that's still
second
happening.
half of How to Get Away with Murder. So I gotta wait for that to come out on something.
Oh yeah, I never got captured by
weird.
that one.
I
was
never watched
thinking
one
we haven't-
episode.
God, I just love that show.
Yeah, I watched a couple of that one and never got into it. I watched Scandal for a while until it got creepily weird and real, and so I had to quit that.
Right.
Yeah,
I have a bunch of, and I love
But-
Madam
but now the
Secretary,
n-
but that's not Shonda Rhimes.
that's not
but,
Shonda, but I love
but
that
I
one
love
too.
that one.
Yeah, but I don't have the right channel configuration. I have to wait for that one to hit Netflix all at once, and then I watch that all at one time.
And Nero's watching The Crossing
And
on
now
ABC.
Sarah Ramirez, formerly of Grey's Anatomy, is on the next
Madam Secretary.
the next season of Madam Secretary, which
That's
I'm
right.
very
Sara
excited. about.
Ramirez.
Right.
I broke that story.
I don't like her all dyked out, but whatever.
Yeah. I don't think Amina's mad about it.
No, Amina's very excited about it. She sends me messages all the
I
time.
think she
not,
looks really
not
hot.
mad about that. Yeah, I think hot.
I can't believe Grey's Anatomy is still on. Are they in like season 90? Like
Yeah, and
14,
Nero's
14.
right. There's a station
17
19.
maybe. 17 maybe.
Give or take. Who cares?
Oh, I haven't seen the spinoff.
Yeah.
Oh.
There's a
I gotta go
station
find that
19
tomorrow.
that actually.
Well, because
the
what's
previews
his
look
name?
Pretty good, but
Nobody's gonna know his name, but anyway, he decided to quit being a surgeon because he wanted to be a firefighter. Who fucking does that?
are you talking about McSteamy?
No, they're all dead.
I
No,
don't
no,
know.
they're
I'm
all,
just going.
All
with
the mix are dead. The mix are long
No.
dead.
McSteamy,
Yeah,
McDreamy
killed all
dead.
of them.
Oh, that's right.
McDreamy died horribly in a car accident.
I know.
Oh, that was
I broke
the
that. I broke that
worst.
news to Erin because I thought she knew, and she was
Oh my God.
apparently not in real time.
So,
and
so
I went, "Do you mean the car crash?"
Yeah.
And she, "Oh, that went well."
when that happened, I have one friend who's also a secret Grey's Anatomy, follower.
Sure.
She literally stopped watching for a year so that he didn't die.
Oh no.
Nope,
Stop
Derek's
it.
still alive.
Yeah.
Literally for a year. And then she finally, I like emotionally through text held her hand as she watched the episode while he died. And then I said, "Girl, the next
great.
one's worse. The funeral's worse."
Right. I can't even.
Mm-mm.
No. That's funny. Yeah, Erin was distraught. Just distraught.
I love the Grey's Anatomy show. Oh, there's one called The Resident that's basically another unrealistic like medical drama
Yeah.
with the cute boy that used to be on The Good Wife, the young lawyer.
Yeah.
Yeah. and the girlfriend from Brothers and Sisters.
Oh, right.
Girlfriend.
I saw the.
Rebecca, I think, wasn't her name Rebecca?
Amina is like.
Rebecca was one of the sisters.
No, Rebecca was. I don't fucking remember. It's a
Oh,
long time ago.
911's the new one that Angela Bassett's
Oh my
on.
God, I love that show.
Yeah, and Connie Britton's leaving already. Like they have to write her off.
What?
Yeah, Connie Britton's leaving the show.
I don't know anything
Well,
about
that's
this.
gonna piss Aaron.
I just saw
Well, I
Angela
can't tell her
Bassett
that.
on Colbert the other night. That's the only reason I knew about it.
Yeah,
And I'm like, God damn, she still looks good.
Yeah, she
for
does.
real.
She looks really good.
And it really is. We just love that show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I watched one episode and I'm like, oh, I can't get hooked on another hour drama. I can't
Yeah.
do it. But
No, we're enjoying that.
and then I read that Connie Britton was leaving yet another show because she's the only one that didn't recur on.
That's the one that we were excited about her being on that show.
Yeah.
But that makes sense. Huh. Interesting.
So there you go.
Wow.
There it is.
I think we got more out of the entertainment segment than you had thought we were ever going to get because we
do.
all had pieces to it.
That's right.
It's the easiest way to do it.
In a
Good
rare
job, team. Good job, team.
in a rare
High fives all around.
Nutbaggery.
act of
Nutbaggery.
defiance, I participated in TV series watching. So
In
you're,
a rare act of defiance.
Yes,
I
I have-
appreciate that.
something like that.
I appreciate
Well,
that.
I think we're ready for this segment, and we'll see how this goes. So good luck to all. Two things is what she brings. Two things is what she's talking about. Two things, important little things. That is what she's spouting out.
You just need two things.
That means two things.
Let's get two things clear.
And then two things about yourself.
And I've come to share with you one of two things. No, two of two things. We're sharing two things right now.
There are only two things I can't stand in this world.
Quick, grab two things you love.
It can be two things.
Only two things in the world I'm scared of.
Frazzle, two things.
Remember two things.
I believe in two things.
Guys are only after two things.
What's better, doing two things at once or just one?
Never half-ass two things. Whole ass one thing.
Kat Carlson, ladies and gentlemen.
You know, so this week, I've decided to half-ass one thing
Oh.
about a guy who whole-assed.
No. Oh, was this in Japan? You're in Japan.
I enjoyed that. That's
Nutbaggery,
good.
nutbaggery.
I
I
enjoy
love
this already. I enjoy it.
Well, perhaps you're a person who loves golf. There are people out there that love golf. People out
I've
there
heard
that
of
like
it.
it a great
I
deal.
have heard of it. Yeah.
People out there that are very enthusiastic about it. Hopefully, you don't love golf as much as this man. That's right. This man who was filmed, quote, having sex with the ninth hole.
Oh. Whoa.
No, that's not the punchline.
That's not.
No.
While pleasuring himself with the flagpole.
Oh.
Nope, that's right.
In one end and out the
Quite
other.
the
What a way-
feat to accomplish.
What a way to bury the lead.
Is it a stainless steel one?
Well, I'm gonna tell you everything that I have in front of me here.
Oh my.
Stephen Gayton is his name, the traditional spelling.
Traditional spelling, yes, of course.
Who was trying to complete the 18-hole course, noticed a man lying on the grass in the rain with his trousers around his knees. The man can be seen holding
That sounded like a Dr.
6-foot
Seuss thing. Right?
I know. Can be seen holding a 6-foot flagpole at his bare ass while filming himself
Oh. He is
at Brackenwood
seriously-
Golf Course.
Oh my God.
This guy can multitask.
Is there a picture somewhere?
Of course there is.
Oh,
Want the
there is?
picture? Of course there is.
Why did you make us wait?
Hang on, I'm gonna Google it now.
Well, here, I'll
Were
send
we
it to you right there.
mad?
There's the article. Let me get back to it.
Jenny,
Go ahead, I'm gonna
raising hand. She loves the game of golf, but not enough to fuck a hole. There we go, Jenny.
Now,
I'm with ya.
in a video clip from Steven, the innocent bystander,
Of course.
he can be heard in the clip saying, well, now there's a lad fucking himself and filming it on his phone. He's filming it on his phone, fucking in his own ass. Look at that. After about a minute, the man places the flag back in the hole,
Oh, that's kind.
gets up from the ground, pulls his trousers
Which
up.
which
he
which
clean it
which
up?
which hole? Which hole does he place the flag? I need
Two
to-
things.
Yeah.
Two holes.
Do we clean it?
One elegant
Flag.
solution.
Yeah, exactly.
For those of you watching, here's a poorly
Yeah,
the grainy picture of the
That's right.
offending motion.
I've never been so happy for something to not be in high def.
God.
He was on his own, looked like he was doing it for a kick, and filming himself doing it.
Fucking hell.
On on my
I've never
own.
been so happy for something to not be in high
Innocent
def.
bystander Steven goes on to say, from where we
Is he
were,
really innocent at this point?
Oh, that's funny.
Oh.
he says it's the weirdest thing I've ever had the misfortune to see.
That's yeah.
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 Yep.
Wow.
That would
Innocent
catch-
bystander Steven continues. He says, I don't think he was drunk because he was filming himself. There was only me and my other friends on the course.
That means
I think he thought he was alone when he realized we had spotted him.
I'm sure he did.
Coitus interruptus.
But he didn't seem bothered. Just very strange. Who knows what goes through people's heads? That's definitely a game of golf I will never forget.
Once a performer, always a performer.
Nutbaggery. How did we get
Another bystander who wished to remain
God.
anonymous commented that all I can say is if my ball ever goes into the 9th hole at Brackenwood, it can fucking stay there.
Oh, putt will never be the same.
No.
I'm just gonna take the penalty on this round.
That's a
I would be the
not
person that
fucking
walked up and go,
baggery.
I don't think I've seen this windmill on this course before.
I'd be the one to run up behind him. 4!
Yeah, I feel like you aimed for the sand trap. I did.
Oh, that's a handicap right there.
Just
That's a mulligan.
couldn't leave that story alone. And since
Wow.
I've been buried under a t-shirt rock, I had nothing to rant about because nothing's really
That's
really
that's
stuck in
interesting.
me. But I thought we needed that to happen.
Stuck
I
in you,
agree.
really?
Stuck
did we
on
get
you.
here?
A Lionel Richie song, Stuck on You. Stuck in
Stuck
you.
in
Stuck
you.
in you.
All night.
Been
All,
Parenthetically.
all night.
Oh, no.
I know. I kind of am disappointed that the Mechanophiles have not been filming their buggery.
Nutbaggery.
Nutbaggery. I meant straight up buggery.
Buggery.
Because they are buggering those cars.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't, yeah.
I saw it.
Maybe
I'll
it's a
keep
consent
looking.
issue.
I'll keep looking.
Yeah, that man must have been ambidextrous.
Yep.
You're stretching there. Let's
I'm
just say
saying.
it. Yeah.
That's hard to do, friend.
Yeah.
That's hard to do.
I mean, we've not seen the quality of the video he was taking.
That's true.
Before
That's
we
true.
compliment him.
But still, to hold the camera and the flag.
With any kind of
God love him.
synchronization, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, she's a majorette.
I was hoping to find someone on Facebook today posted a picture of a bunch of bumper stickers on the back of a car that was a mechanophile that says tailpipes aren't only for
God.
exhaust.
Oh no!
Stop it.
No, swear to God, it was a white. it was a white
that's
Caprice Classic.
Awesome.
Is it?
Oh my God, it's funny as hell. That's like, that's fantastic.
Is it?
That's fantastic.
Oh.
Damn it, how did I not find that?
I gotta say though, having been like immersed in news and current events and politics and stuff like the last couple of years, I've been like 2 months with nothing. Like I barely manage my podcast anymore, and I'm a happier person.
Yeah.
I have to say, ignorance is bliss.
Just finding a man fucking himself in the ass
Right.
with a flagpole.
That was delightful.
It's just the news we need.
Dare I say something you don't see every day?
And thank God.
And don't watch it right.
And I'm the richer for it.
Around a golf you'll never forget.
Yes.
It's a very different meaning of hole in one, ladies and gentlemen.
Ah.
There's that.
That's true.
Quite the brave.
So true.
Well, on that note,
That's all I got. Yeah.
okay. Well, there's that. On that note, do we need a thoughtful, or are we good?
We got some time to kill.
Is there any- well, I mean, sure
I
we do.
kind of feel like we've been pretty thoughtful about, the phallus.
Anything else anybody wants to talk
fallacies.
about while we're here this week? Anything you got?
I think I'm good.
I'm good
Yeah,
too.
all right.
Think you're good? Think you're? I think.
Too.
I mean,
I've totally enjoyed this. Just laughing and.
Yeah, well, that's good.
Been lovely.
It's been a happy show. Yeah.
It has
Good work,
been a
guys.
happy
Good
show.
work, guys.
I don't know if it's happy for
Well
everybody
done,
else,
well
but for
done,
We
us,
might not know what goes through people's heads, but we all know what goes up their ass.
Well, at least for him. Excuse me, sir. May I play through?
Oh, chat room. Oh, chat room.
Oh, well done.
Well done.
Nutbaggery at its best.
Baggery.
Oh, you people make me laugh.
How did we get here?
I say that's a bogey.
That's a hairy back if I've ever seen one.
Not an
Golly.
eagle.
Had to bring it back.
Eagle. Spread.
Ah,
Spread eagle.
Spread eagle.
Number 17.
Number 17, right.
Spread eagle.
Oh, thank you all for joining us as we wrap up tonight's show. Let's leave you with this parting thought. We will
See you next Tuesday.
Oh my gosh.